Chapter 1106. She didn't care about the combination of names as long as she could go to America. This was the first time in her life that she would leave her master to do something she wanted to do. This was definitely an extraordinary growth for Bai Xiaoya. If we go, we won't bring Miss Gu with us, right? After returning to the hotel, Bai Xiaoya suddenly realized a problem. Let me say this first. I'm not going to America to be your nanny. If you only want me to take care of people, then I won't go. We haven't even moved yet, and you already have so many opinions. I think you shouldn't go with me, Su Yin said. Otherwise, who knows what will happen when we get there? Stop it, Bai Xiaoya said. Don't try to trick me into backing out. We're not going to America for a vacation. You won't bring Miss Gu with you, right? If they encounter any danger, it will be troublesome. I know what you're thinking. You'll only let them reunite after you've dealt with it properly. Su Yin glanced at Bai Xiaoya speechlessly. Why are you asking me when you already know? Can't you show your ability if you don't say a few words? Tisk. Bai Xiaoya rolled her eyes and said bitterly. Do you think that Miss Gu is very pitiful now? Her father's whereabouts are unknown, and she doesn't know when they'll be reunited. She can only resign herself to fate and place all her hopes on others. Su Yin nodded. It's quite pitiful. If it weren't for some things, they wouldn't have gotten into trouble and wouldn't have encountered such a troublesome situation. I really feel that I've let them down. I'm much more pitiful than her, Bai Xiaoya said. At least she still has her father. Even if something happens to her father, she still has her memories and her father's love. As for me, I don't even know what a father's love is. I don't even know what my father looks like. I don't even have a picture of him. Those who didn't have this kind of experience wouldn't be able to understand this feeling. But Su Yin could clearly feel the helplessness in Bai Xiaoya's heart. This kind of helplessness could only be understood by those who had the same experience as them. That's right. Su Yin forced a smile, trying to pull back the atmosphere that was about to fall into the abyss. However, everyone is different, and fate is even more incomparable. If the children of ordinary families had to work hard, they would have to work hard for a lifetime. If they had enough to eat, drink, and spare money, it would be considered a success if they didn't starve to death. They were envious of those who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths. They had villas, luxury cars, all kinds of houses and office buildings. It was guaranteed that they would not have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of their lives. But these rich second-generation heirs are also envious of those super-rich second-generation heirs. The moment they are born, they own some family company worth billions of shares. Even if they die of exhaustion on the road of consumption, they still have money to spend. Bai Xiaoya nodded. Although she didn't have parents, she was still much happier than those poor beggars on the streets. At the very least, she had a master that everyone envied. At the very least, the things she ate, drank, and wore for the past 20 years were all luxuries that ordinary people wouldn't even dare to dream of. Moreover, she had also cultivated a powerful strength that was enough to command a region. She wondered how many people were secretly envious of her. Bai Xiaoya. Fate was a very easy thing to understand. It was the past, present, and future of life. Fate couldn't be changed, but it could be changed because people couldn't see into fate. Fate was constantly changing. Fate existed in every corner, but it couldn't be touched. Fate was like a line that kept extending. The starting point was a line that was destined to be walked. This line was connected to countless branches. When you chose one of the branches with a certain attitude, fate would be decided. When you faced several branches again, your fate would be decided. Fate would then change. Confucianism said that fate was the view of destiny. Taoism said that fate was the view of natural destiny. Buddhism said that fate was the view of causality. Christianity said that fate was the view of God. Classical physics said that fate was the view of mechanical determinism. Quantum mechanics said that fate was the view of indeterminism and neutrality. Marxist philosophy said that fate was the view of historical determinism. Everyone had an understanding of fate in their hearts. Su Yin believed that fate was predestined, but he also believed that fate could be changed. Confucianism and Taoism philosophy said that man's determination could conquer the heavens. The cohesiveness and strength of humans could surpass the natural world. This was why humans were humans and not like other animals who listened to fate. After hearing what you said, I actually feel that I'm much luckier than Miss Gu. Bai Xiaoya stuck out her tongue. The two of them had already arrived at Gu Qia's room. Su Yin knocked on the door but didn't get any response. Su Yin took out his phone and called Gu Qia. The other party's phone was turned off. Su Yin knocked on the door 3 more times. Why are you still knocking? It's meaningless. Bai Xiaoya said as she took out a card from her pocket. This card obviously wasn't a room card, but the door opened with a light tap. Afraid that Su Yin would be confused, Bai Xiaoya explained. Universal card. I've never met a hotel room door that couldn't be opened. F***ck Su Yin was so shocked that his eyes almost popped out. What kind of attribute did Bai Xiaoya have? Are you Doraemon or Doraemon? Universal card? F***ck. No one. Bai Xiaoya didn't have the time to think about Su Yin's inner thoughts. She had already walked into the room. After looking around, Bai Xiaoya pointed at a note on the coffee table. The girl seems to have left you a message. Su Yin quickly picked up the note. There was a paragraph of delicate handwriting on it. Su Yin, thank you for saving me. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for being so busy for me and the Great Circle. I know that I shouldn't be in a hurry and should wait patiently, but I really can't convince myself to keep waiting. I have a friend in Yanjing who helped me fake my identity and return to Vancouver with an overseas tour group. I need to know the situation at home as soon as possible, so I hope you can forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. My father is the leader of the Great Circle. Now that something has happened to him, I have to step up and protect the rights of the Great Circle. I can't be a coward. Idiot. After Su Yin finished reading, he crumpled the note into a ball and threw it into the wastepaper basket. Of course he was angry. He had gone through so much trouble to save her from the Japanese, but she had left just like that. Even Su Yin had to consider the situation outside, and how dangerous it was. She really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Sigh, why do I feel that if I go with you, I might become a nanny and take care of someone? This Miss Gu is too difficult to take care of. Bai Xiaoya sighed. Sigh, I really want to leave. But now, it seems that you need me to go with you to help you. If I leave now, I won't be able to explain myself. Forget it. Bai Xiaoya was right. Su Yin originally thought that he could find a way to take care of Gu Qia. But now, it seemed that he couldn't even take care of Gu Qia without a helper. Xiaoya, I really have to thank you this time. Su Yin. As long as Su Yin comes back alive, I will thank you however you want me to. We can even go to Wangfu Hotel for a Manchu Han Imperial feast. You said it. Bai Xiaoya said. I haven't eaten a Manchu Han Imperial feast before. It's settled then. When we come back, I will treat you, and you will pay the bill. Chapter 1107. Because Gu Qia had left without saying goodbye, all his plans had been disrupted. Su Yin couldn't continue to wait for news in Huaxia. No matter when Matthew could get news from the US through his friends, Su Yin had to go to Canada first. He had to find Gu Qia and calm her down first. The flight to Vancouver had taken off an hour ago. Gu Qia probably got on that plane through her friend. Someone who could do this was definitely not a simple person. Gu Qia hadn't mentioned to Su Yin that she knew such a capable person. Su Yin asked about the airport and booked a ticket for the next day. This was the fastest he could do. There was a change of plans. After all, he had to go out to deal with this matter. Su Yin thought about it, and didn't ask for leave from the main team in the end. He knew very well that once he called, his decision might change. Wan Guangxiao would never let him go to the US alone. The risk was huge. He should contact Matthew in private. Su Yin called Matthew and told him that he was leaving the next day. He also asked him to urge his friends in the US to help him find out what he needed to know as soon as possible. Matthew told Su Yin that his people had already started to look for Master Gu's whereabouts and would do their best. In any case, Matthew had already given his assurance, and Su Yin felt a little more relaxed. As long as she rushed to Canada before anything serious happened to Gu Qia, there shouldn't be any major problems. Hey Su Yin, don't tell me you only got one room? Bai Xiaoya suddenly interrupted Su Yin's thoughts. Are you really having an affair with Miss Gu? Can you be a little more simple-minded? Don't think so dirty, Su-yin said. I am a dignified 7 feet tall man like Lu Xiaohui. How could I do such a despicable thing like what Shi Minqing did? You're underestimating me. Fine, fine, fine. I'm going to sleep here tonight. You can get another room. Bai Xiaoya said. Look at the time. I want to take a shower. You should leave now. Su-yin pointed at the room and said, I seem to be the one who paid for this room. If you want to stay alone, you should be the one who paid for the room. I still have to go to Canada and America. I don't have much money in my pocket. You're from a big family, so please be more generous. Just treat it as helping me out. Su-yin was telling the truth. During the earthquake, he had donated all his money. There really wasn't much money left in the card in his pocket. The overdraft card was also returned to Wang Yi after he returned to the team. I came out in such a hurry. Do I look like someone who has money? Bai Xiaoya said. Besides, even if I bring my card out, Master will be able to see every purchase. It'll be much easier for her to track me down. Also, if she knew that I snuck out, she would definitely freeze my credit card. I won't be able to use a single cent. So what you're saying is that you came out with a pair of hands and a single cent? Not a single cent? Su-yin said. I'm already being generous enough by buying you a plane ticket. You still want me to? Hey. I'm helping you. Shouldn't you be paying for it? Bai Xiaoya snorted. Have you seen anyone asking for help and asking them to pay for food, clothing, and accommodation? I've never seen that before. Su-yin shrugged. Fine, then we really have to save up. If we run out of money in America, we can't be beggars, right? Don't even open a room. I'll just make do with it. I'll be leaving tomorrow. You can sleep on the sofa, right? Are you a man? You're letting a girl sleep on the sofa? Bai Xiaoya snorted. The bed is mine. You can choose anywhere else. Also, if you dare to mess around at night, I'll cripple you. Su-yin snorted in disdain. Although Bai Xiaoya was definitely a devastatingly beautiful woman, Su-yin really didn't have any special thoughts about her. Perhaps it was because he had too many thoughts. I'm going to take a shower. If you dare to peek or barge in, my master will gouge your eyes out. Bai Xiaoya finally emphasized her threat. Su-yin waved his hand and said impatiently, Stop wasting time. I, Su-yin, still have a moral bottom line. Don't look down on me. No matter how strong a moral bottom line is, he's still a man. Bai Xiaoya said. My master said that she would rather believe that a sow can climb a tree and a non-swimmer can dive than believe a man's mouth. Your master has such a huge grudge against a man. How deeply did she hurt him? Su-yin said. Ayaya, this man is incredible. He even dared to deceive the Empress's feelings. His ending must be miserable, right? Will he die without a burial place, or will he never be able to turn over a new leaf? Bai Xiaoya shrugged her shoulders. I didn't dare to ask. However, I've observed my master's reactions and eavesdropped on her muttering. I think that man's current situation should be one where he will never be able to turn over a new leaf. Hey, Su-yin, why are you asking about everything? Let me tell you, don't spout nonsense. Su-yin shrugged and said, You're the one who's spouting nonsense, all right? I didn't ask that much. You're the one who doesn't watch your mouth. If your master finds out, you'll be the one getting beaten up. Surnamed Su. You. Bai Xiaoya thought for a long time and realized that she had nothing to say. She could only snort loudly, slam the door and enter the bathroom. Su-yin sat cross-legged on the sofa to relax his muscles and bones from the past few days. He then directly fell asleep on the sofa. He didn't even know when Bai Xiaoya came out of the bathroom. When Bai Xiaoya came out of the bathroom and saw Su-yin sleeping like a dead pig, she was both amused and angry. What kind of person is this? My looks and figure are top-notch no matter where I go. The number of people turning their heads when I walk on the street is even higher than when you drive a limited edition Lamborghini. What are you still thinking about? You actually fell asleep while I was bathing. Su-yin, oh Su-yin, you're really like Lu Xiaohui. The night passed uneventfully. When the sun rose in the east, Bai Xiaoya yawned and stretched her body. As for Su-yin, he was nowhere to be found. By the time Bai Xiaoya finished washing up, Su-yin had already returned with some breakfast. Let's eat something simple. The buffet breakfast in this hotel is too expensive. It costs 58 yuan per person. Su Yun said, let's have some qingfeng buns. We'll be stuffed to death with 30 yuan. There are pork, onion, and garlic. Are you serious? You can't even afford a buffet breakfast for 58 yuan? Bai Xiaoya grew up with Zuolingyue and had no concept of money. She usually drove a Bentley, so it was obvious how extravagant her life was. Su Yun nodded. It's not that we can't afford it. Chinese people are particular about the rich and poor. We're going to leave soon, so we should save some money. Being thrifty is the traditional virtue of Huaxia's working people. Virtue? You don't have money. Why are only working people thrifty? Rich people like officials and bosses are the true virtues. Su Yun, I really have to hand it to you. Look at your titles. Instructor of the Dragon Fury team, Chairman of the Sky Entertainment Group, Boss of Xingkai Hotel. You're actually eating qingfeng buns to save money. Bai Xiaoya shook her head helplessly. What's wrong with qingfeng buns? All the bosses in Huaxia eat them. Su Yun, you should be happy. There are so many people in Huaxia who can't eat buns for breakfast. Let them be envious of you. I'm eating chive buns. You won't mind the smell in my mouth, right? What else could Bai Xiaoya say? She was completely speechless. Chapter 1108. The waiting time passed very slowly, especially for Bai Xiaoya. She was on tenterhooks. She was afraid that her master would find her. After all, she turned off her phone after she escaped. She believed that her master must have sensed it after last night. She only hoped that the plane would leave quickly. As long as it was in the sky, no matter how angry her master was, she could only let it go. She couldn't force the plane to land just because she was angry with her, right? You look very nervous. Su Yun noticed that Bai Xiaoya kept rubbing her hands. Only a nervous person would have such an unnatural reaction. If you're really afraid, then don't go. I'm serious. If you go in this state, I'm afraid that I'll have to take care of you. Are you kidding? I'm not afraid to go with you. Bai Xiaoya was honest. I'm afraid that my master will find the airport. If that happens, I'll be in trouble. You'll be in the same situation as me. You won't even be able to leave. Although Bai Xiaoya was exaggerating, if Zuolingyue really found this place before the plane took off, the consequences would be serious. Even if Bai Xiaoya was willing, Zuolingyue might suspect that Su Yun had kidnapped her disciple. Plane, oh plane, hurry up. There was another figure rubbing his hands at the airport. One was more nervous than the other, and one was more eager than the other. Perhaps their behavior was too suspicious, and it finally attracted the attention of the airport's security personnel. Nervous people usually had something wrong. After receiving the report from the airport's security personnel, the airport's police quickly arrived at the scene. After observing Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya, they finally decided to investigate. When the police walked in front of the two and interrogated them, Bai Xiaoya's first reaction was to scold them for being crazy. There are so many bad guys in Huaxia. Why are you suspecting us instead of arresting them? Su Yun was a wily old fox. Of course, he knew that it was not worth it to offend the police. After all, they were law enforcement personnel. If they took you away for investigation and delayed the flight, you could only change your flight. He quickly suppressed Bai Xiaoya's emotions and stood up to explain to the police. Mr. Policeman, we're just waiting for the plane, Su Yun said. Do I look like a bad guy? You can't judge a book by its cover. Bad guys will never have a label that says I'm a bad guy on their faces. The policeman said, You're not young anymore, right? If you really don't feel like you're at a disadvantage, you can continue to call me uncle. However, if you call me uncle, I will still check you. Why are you inspecting us? Bai Xiaoya was unhappy. This is an illegal search. Do you have any evidence? Why are you searching us? The policewoman also came with them. Young lady, that's not right of you to say that. We will search you because we have the right to suspect any suspicious person. Since the country has given us this power, we have to enforce the law seriously. Recently, the country has been cracking down on drug and drug trafficking. We came to interrogate you because we found you suspicious. Bai Xiaoya was stunned. What do you mean? Are you suspecting that we are? Not just you guys, even if it's a celebrity, as long as it's suspicious, we'll take action. No matter what their background is. The leading policeman said. The news has reported a lot now, right? You should know that no matter if it's a famous screenwriter in the country, the son of an international superstar, a popular young actor of the new generation, or a famous actor, as long as it's related to drugs, we won't be soft-hearted and show no mercy. We'll definitely crack down on them. Su-Yun listened to the policeman's righteous words and was quite impressed. Well said. So many anti-drug police officers work day and night to clean up drugs, go undercover, and catch countless heroes who have died for revenge. Even if they died, they can't be exposed and eulogized. They don't even dare to hold funerals or memorial services for fear of implicating their families. No one knows who they are, and no one takes care of the orphans and widows of the heroes. For these nameless heroes, we should strictly investigate drugs. Brother, tell me, who should we investigate? I'll help you investigate. It's even more shameful for celebrities to take drugs. They're idols. How can they be idols like that? Idols teach good things, not bad things. Idols endorse products so that their fans can use the same things as them. Idols do charity work, so that their fans can do charity work with them. If idols take drugs, shouldn't their fans try it too? If idols break the law, they'll be punished the same as commoners. The policemen looked at each other. Such reasonable, logical, and bloody words were definitely not something a drug addict could say. Su-Yun cooperated and stood up. I don't have any objections if you suspect me. Search me wherever you want. I'll definitely cooperate. I also hate drug dealers for doing things that harm others and themselves. I hate those who encourage others to take drugs even more. Suddenly, the airport broadcast announced that passengers flying to Vancouver had to prepare immediately. Just as Bai Xiaoya was helpless and wanted to ask Su-Yun how to escape, the policeman patted Su-Yun's shoulder heavily. Young man, if all the young people in Huaxia had such high ideological awareness like you, they wouldn't have given the drug dealers so many opportunities to take advantage of them. What you said just now was well said. Thank you, leader, for your affirmation. Su-Yun nodded. All right, there's nothing else. You can go. The policeman said. Don't be late. Thank you, leader, for your trust. Su-Yun saluted and brought Bai Xiaoya to board the plane. The policewoman was a little surprised. Leader, you let them go just like that? We didn't check. Listen to what he said. Can a drug addict say something like that? The policeman said. Also, when he left just now, didn't you see how accurate his salute was? This kid must have been in the army before. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so energetic. I believe him. I believe him. Since the investigation was fruitless, the policeman communicated with the airport's security personnel and left. Although there were some twists and turns, Su-Yun and Bai Xiaoya still boarded the plane successfully. Why are we so unlucky? We're just waiting for a plane, and the policemen want to check us, Bai Xiaoya said. I don't look like a bad person at all. It must be because of you. Phew, luckily it wasn't your master who came just now. Su-Yun said, be content. This was not a big deal at all. We don't know what will happen when we get there. Bai Xiaoya yawned. She didn't sleep as well as Su-Yun last night. After all, Su-Yun was on the sofa in the room. How could she sleep well? I'll sleep for a while. Bai Xiaoya said. Don't disturb me. Go to sleep. I knew you didn't sleep well. Su-Yun knew that any girl with vigilance wouldn't be able to sleep well. After a series of bumps and shakes, the plane finally took off. Bai Xiaoya finally felt relieved. Master, I'm sorry. I'll apologize to you when I get back. Su-Yun also found a comfortable position and closed his eyes to rest. There were many things in his mind. Big Circle was heavily damaged in Vancouver. Who could Gu Qia look for when she returned? Who could she look for? When would Kevin Matthew give him an answer? These were all things that Su-Yun was concerned about. Sai, forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. There will always be a way when the car reaches the mountain. This was an ancient saying from the ancestors of China. There must be some truth to it. Since God didn't starve blind sparrows to death, it meant that there was always a way out. Chapter 1109. It took them 11.5 hours to cover the distance of 8,460 roads. Although this speed couldn't be compared to Sun Wukong's somersault cloud, it was still much faster than taking a boat. The 16-hour time difference was indeed hard to get used to. They boarded the plane in Beijing at noon, but it was already past 8 in the morning when they arrived in Vancouver. Although they had closed their eyes to rest, it was impossible for them to fall into deep sleep. Bai Xiaoye still couldn't get used to the beautiful time when they just got off the plane. What should we do first? Walking out of the airport, Bai Xiaoye stretched and said to Su Yun, "Let's go to Gu Qia's house first. She arrived earlier than us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I don't know how many hours, but she must be sleeping at home at night, right? She won't be stupid enough to go home directly. That would be like walking into a trap." Su Yun said. The Japanese failed to catch Gu Qia, and I believe the Americans must know about it. The Gu family must be under the surveillance of the CIA. If Gu Qia goes home, she'll only be caught. Bai Xiaoye shrugged. Maybe she's not as smart as you think. Maybe she's already been caught. Phew, things are more troublesome than I thought. Were you born in the year of the crow in your previous life? Su Yun said. Don't jinx it. It's already very troublesome that we can't find old Master Gu. If Gu Qia is caught by those agents, we'll be in big trouble. You're the jinx. Bai Xiaoye said helplessly. We can't go to her house to find her, and we're worried that she'll be caught by the agents. You have to have a plan, right? We can't just run around like headless flies, right? Didn't you come to Vancouver before? Who are you looking for? Su Yun thought for a moment and said, Have you heard of a person, Rhodes Lavini? Of course. She's the leader of the Canadian Dark Angels. Who doesn't know? Bai Xiaoye said in disdain. Then she suddenly realized something and stared at him. Come on, are you thinking of asking the Dark Angels to help you find the big circle? Are you crazy? 2 clubs with different standpoints? The Chinese have already touched the Dark Angels' cheese by establishing a large circle of clubs in Canada. You still want them to help? There's no such thing as an eternal enemy. I'm sure you've never heard of this famous saying. Su Yun shook his head. Don't look down on me. Of course, I've heard that before. But what bargaining chips do you have to ask Rodnan Lavini for help? Bai Xiaoye went straight to the point. At the very least, you need a reason for him to help you, right? Su Yun nodded. That's right. That's why I can only go to his daughter and see if she's willing to help. Daughter of Rodney Levine. Bai Xiaoye had an incredulous expression on her face. This fellow's social circle is pretty wide. He even knows the daughter of the biggest society in Canada. As they spoke, a taxi arrived. Su Yun urged Bai Xiaoye to get in, and asked the driver to take them to the golf course that Matthew had taken him to last time. Rodnan Lavini's daughter, Celine, was a golf fanatic. Su Yun had heard from Matthew that Celine was preparing to become a golf professional. To the golf course? Bai Xiaoye's heart was filled with all kinds of doubts. You just need to follow me. Don't forget what you said. After we come out, you have to listen to my orders. Su Yun. From now on, you're my assistant. You have to do whatever I tell you to do. Don't be arrogant. Follow me obediently and keep a low profile. Do you understand? Bai Xiaoye crossed her arms in front of her chest. Humph, so be it. What's the big deal? At most, I'll pretend to be deaf and dumb. If you want me to be your follower, that depends on your performance. The taxi went all the way to the golf course. Obviously, the driver knew who this place was and was very polite to Su Yun. As soon as the two of them got out of the taxi and walked to the entrance of the golf course, several burly men surrounded them. This golf course was the private property of the Dark Angel. It was Mr. Rodney Lavini's territory. Not just anyone could come and play here. Hello, brothers. I'm here to look for Miss Celine. We have an appointment. Su Yun smiled at the members of the Dark Angel. These people were Celine's bodyguards. Hearing Su Yun's words, the burly men looked at each other. My surname is Su Yun. You can ask Miss Celine. Su Yun. We have an appointment. Why? Didn't she tell you? Oh yes. I talked to Mr. Rodnan Lavini on the phone yesterday. Maybe Mr. Rodnan Lavini was too busy and forgot to tell Miss Celine. Hearing that this ordinary-looking Asian kid in front of them had talked to their boss on the phone, the attitude of the burly men obviously improved. The leader gave a look, and someone immediately ran to the golf course to ask Miss Celine. The rest of the people politely invited Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya inside. Bai Xiaoya whispered to Su Yun, "Aren't you a little too bold? What nonsense are you spouting? Do Rhodes and Lavini even know you? Just say that you talked to him. Aren't you afraid that you'll be exposed? When that time comes, the whole of Vancouver will dare to blacklist you. Wherever you go, people will chase after you. Then let's wait and see." Su Yun was confident that Celine would be polite to him even if it was because of Matthew. However, what Su Yun received was not a polite invitation, but a few black muzzles aimed at his head. This sudden change almost made Bai Xiaoya unable to control herself and want to attack, but Su Yun calmly suppressed her impulse. "Friends, let's talk things out. After all, I'm Miss Celine's friend. There's no need to use guns, right?" "Miss Celine didn't say you were her friend," the leader of the burly men shouted angrily. "Cut the crap. Let's go." "Where to?" Su Yun was stunned. Bai Xiaoya's eyes were piercingly cold. If they disagreed again, she would definitely cripple this group of people, regardless of whether Su Yun was willing or not. "We're going to see our miss," the burly man said. Forget it. No matter what, he was connected to Celine. Even if someone pointed a gun at his head, it didn't matter. Okay. Let's go. After we meet, our misunderstanding will be resolved. Brother, be careful with your gun. Don't misfire. Su Yun smiled and tried to ease the atmosphere. Drawing swords at each other's throats wasn't the way to solve problems peacefully. Bai Xiaoya wasn't willing to accept this, but Su Yun repeatedly signaled her with his eyes to be patient. After all, this was other people's territory. Since they were guests, they had to be obedient. Under the threat of the guns, Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya were led to the golf course. At this moment, Celine was having a good time. She had to wake up early every day to play golf until 10 in the morning before going home for a beauty sleep. She wanted to become a professional golfer, and her father had agreed. Therefore, Celine planned to practice more this year and officially participate in the competition next year. Chapter 11:10. Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya were brought to Celine by a few people. Celine had already wiped her sweat and was sitting in a lounge chair, drinking coffee with a smile. "Miss Celine." Su Yun smiled. "You must have improved a lot. If you have time, let's spar and learn from each other." "Su Yun, if your skills improve again, you won't even need to swing. You can make the ball go in with your mind, right?" Celine took a sip of coffee. "You left without saying goodbye last time, and now you're here so suddenly. Tell me, what do you want from me?" Before Su Yun could speak, Celine glanced at Bai Xiaoya and said, "Oh, so you brought a pretty girl with you this time. I know that you Huaxia people need to send invitations to your wedding. You're not here to send me an invitation, right?" "Miss Celine, you must be joking." Su Yun was afraid that Bai Xiaoya would explode, so he hurriedly said, "I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm really here to ask for your help." "Oh, Mr. Su, please don't say that. Who are you to ask for my help?" Celine said meaningfully. "The Americans might not know, but I know. Kevin Matthews' disappearance in the United States must have something to do with you, right?" It seemed that this matter was not small. Su Yun didn't speak again. Since Celine said so, she obviously knew something. "If you're here to ask me about Daquan, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you anything," Celine said. "There's one thing that you should know without asking. Daquan is in deep trouble because of you. As for other things, I really don't know. Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you anything. Dark Angel won't offend the Americans because of these things. We know how difficult it is to deal with American agents." Bai Xiaoya didn't have a good impression of this arrogant mixed-blood woman. What's so great about her? American agents are difficult to deal with, right? I really want to show you what a real problem is. I'm much more difficult to deal with than the American agents. By the way, Su Yun, is it true that you brought Kevin Matthew to Huaxia? Celine asked. She sighed. You really have some tricks up your sleeve. Su Yun smiled calmly. Miss Celine, you think too highly of me. It's Matthew's decision to go wherever he wants to go. No one can control him. If he wanted to leave America, even if I didn't know him, he would still leave. If he doesn't want to leave America, even if there are 20 more of me, I won't be able to kidnap him, right? Since this matter has nothing to do with you, why did you come to Canada? Celine asked. Let's put it this way. Just get straight to the point. Why are you looking for me? We are friends after all. I would like to ask Miss Celine for a favor, Suyin said. Celine nodded. Since you've said so, I can't refuse. Indeed, we are friends after all. I can't refuse you directly. However, there's a condition. If you have something to ask of me, I can help you. However, it must not be related to Matthew, the American agents, or the Chinese community. As for the rest, I'll do whatever I can. Bai Xiaoya was speechless. I've already rejected everything I can. You might as well say that you don't want to help. What did she say? Celine's Chinese wasn't that good, and Bai Xiaoya's voice was soft, so she couldn't understand. Su Yun smiled and translated for her. She said that Miss Celine is really loyal. One look and you can tell that she's from the pugilistic world. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also very generous. Alright, although my Chinese isn't that good, I know that this lady didn't say so much, Celine said. Su Yun, you don't have to be like this. You're the lady, Bai Xiaoya muttered again. Celine's face was already ugly. Su Yun complained in his heart. Sigh, if I knew that Bai Xiaoya was so stubborn with her words, I wouldn't have brought you here. This is other people's territory, and I still have to ask for their help. Don't be so rude. Even if you don't want to be rude, they're still holding a gun to our heads. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Looks like I really don't have anything to help you with. Celine's face turned serious. I'm going to play. See them out. After a pause, Celine said, Su Yun, I'm being so polite to you and your friend today because of you. If your friend still doesn't know what's good for her, don't blame me for falling out with you. This is Vancouver, not Huaxia. You better make her remember what I said. I heard everything. I don't need him to translate for me. Bai Xiaoya could speak English. It's fine if you don't want to help, but why are you saying so many high-sounding words? You clearly know that we're here to ask for your help for a few things, but you're saying that you're only willing to help other than this. Isn't that hypocritical? Who are you calling hypocritical? Celine was furious, and so were her subordinates. They all pointed their guns at Bai Xiaoya. Bai Xiaoya wasn't afraid at all. You better tell your subordinates to put down their guns. I'm not sure if I can dodge so many bullets, but I'm warning you. I'm sure I can kill you before I get shot. If you don't believe me, you can let your subordinates try. A threat, such a direct threat. Celine was the lady of the Dark Angel. How could she fall for Bai Xiaoya's tricks? Stop. Su Yun stood up in time to stop the war. Miss Celine, please forgive me for not teaching my subordinates well. Then Su Yun turned to Bai Xiaoya and said, If you feel wronged, you can leave. I'm not the one begging you to come with me to help me. It's fine if you don't want to help, but don't cause trouble for me. How is this causing trouble? Look at their attitude. Bai Xiaoya said angrily. Su Yun said, I know you've never been bullied like this since you were young. You've always been by your master's side, and no one dares to be disrespectful to your master. But you're not with your master now, and no one is asking your master for help. No one is spoiling you. Do you think I like to ask for help? But if I don't ask the Dark Angel for help, when will I find Gu Qia? She might already be dead by the time I find her. If everyone in the Gu family is dead, then what's the point of me coming here? Do you understand why I'm here? Seeing that Su Yun was a little angry, Bai Xiaoya realized her stubbornness. Yes, I'm here to do something. I understand. Bai Xiaoya finally calmed down and quieted down obediently. Celine's anger dissipated when she saw that Su Yun had tamed the girl beside her. Miss Celine, I really need help, Su Yun said. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here. Everyone knows that the circle is in this state because of me and Matthew. Gu Qia almost died in the East China Sea. She has returned to Vancouver and needs my help. I'm worried that she will be in danger if she acts recklessly. But I don't have any clues to find her. I know what the Dark Angel is capable of in Vancouver, so I came to you. Celine saw that Su Yin was being sincere, so she couldn't say anything else. Su Yin, I understand what you mean. But I've also made it very clear that I won't let the Dark Angel offend the Americans because of the circle. The American agents are really troublesome. I don't want to provoke them, and I don't want the Dark Angel to offend them because of this. So I can only apologize. I really can't help. Chapter 11:11. Celine was immediately surrounded by many bodyguards. All the bodyguards loaded their guns. Although it was an emergency, they were all looking for the shooter's position calmly. Because the muzzle of the gun was muffled, it was difficult to identify where the shot was fired. Celine was indeed the daughter of the leader of the Dark Angels, Rhodes Levine. Even if the bullet hit the coffee cup less than half a meter away from her, she could still remain calm. Of course, the bodyguards had already formed a meat shield around her. She really had nothing to worry about. Even if the other party wanted to kill her, they would at least kill the 5 bodyguards around her first. In addition to the 5 bodyguards, there were also more than 10 members of the Dark Angels. They all took out their pistols to search for the shooter's position. Everything happened too suddenly, and it more or less caught everyone off guard. Su Yin and Bai Xiaoye also reflexively found cover. After all, they were experts. They more or less had a rough idea of where the gunshot came from. From the direction of the coffee cup, they could roughly determine that direction. Just as everyone was searching for the shooter, a bullet suddenly pierced through the head of a member of the Dark Angels. The tall and burly man fell to the ground. His brain blood dyed the green space under his feet red. Everyone aimed their guns in the direction where the bullet came from. Although the gun had a silencer, it was still easy to determine the shooter's direction based on the direction of the person who was shot. Su Yin was shocked. That's not right. The direction of the shot was completely opposite from the direction of the coffee cup. The other party was definitely not one person. There must be 2 or more people. Of course, this could also basically rule out the possibility that the other party was an assassin. 99.9% of assassins acted alone. It was rare for them to form a team. It was the same principle as a game. It was not like killing monsters and clearing dungeons. In order to kill the final boss, it was best for one person to play dirty and kill in one shot. Those who formed a team to kill were definitely feuds. It must be people from 2 gangs who hated each other to a certain extent. Only then would they form a team to kill an important person from another gang. Most of the time, there was a connection between the game and reality. From this point, Su Yin could determine that the person hiding in the dark shooting was not a hired professional assassin. Basically, he was sure that the person was sent by a rival gang. At this moment, a 3rd gunshot was heard. Another Dark Angel member, who was searching the periphery, was hit in the chest and fell to the ground. It could be seen that these people that the other party had arranged were really good at shooting. 3 shots killed 2 people, one in the head and the other in the chest. The one who hit the coffee cup must have been the best at shooting, which was why he was arranged to shoot Celine. However, he made a mistake. There was only one explanation, and that was that he was the furthest away from this point. Bibi. Bai Xiaoye hid behind a bunker and called out to Su Yin. What's going on? Why is it like they're filming a crime movie? They shoot whenever they want and fight whenever they want. They don't even give us any time to prepare. Why are we so unlucky? They were quite unlucky indeed. They came to ask Celine for help, but they ran into people who were planning to assassinate her. Let's get ready to escape. This is a dangerous place and we can't stay for long. Bai Xiaoye, like Su Yin, basically judged the situation and quickly planned an escape route. It was not good to stay in a dangerous place for long, but this was also an opportunity for Su Yin. The 4th and 5th shots came quickly, and one Dark Angel member after another fell to the grass. Even some of Celine's bodyguards had been shot. The other party's bullets were faster and faster, and more were shot. Su Yin could tell that there were at least 3 people shooting at the same time, and the gunman who had wanted to kill Celine from the very beginning had not fired a single shot after that. He seemed to be waiting for a chance to kill her in one shot. If Su Yin stepped forward to save Celine's life at this time, Celine would probably not have the nerve to reject their request, right? Su Yun gave Bai Xiaoya a look. Of course Bai Xiaoya understood. No way. You came to ask her for help, but she ignored you. You actually want to play the hero and save the damsel in distress? I'm really speechless. Saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda, Su Yun said. With the two of us working together, these gunmen won't be a problem. I'll leave the 2 people in the 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock to you. I believe in your ability. Leave the rest to me. Get ready to move. When we're done, I'll treat you to Western food at the most famous restaurant in Vancouver. What could Bai Xiaoya say? Since they were out, she had to listen to Su Yun. You said it yourself. Don't be stingy with money. If you make me eat instant noodles, I'll beat you up. The situation was already very urgent. Celine had 5 bodyguards and 11 normal bodyguards with her when she came out to play. But now there were only 4 bodyguards and 1 normal bodyguard left. Just as Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya started to move, another bodyguard was shot in the head and killed. They were either dead or injured. No matter how fearless Celine was in the face of danger, her expression began to change. There were only 4 people left. With the opponent's shooting accuracy, it would only take 4 to 6 bullets to finish off all her bodyguards. At that time, she would be a general without an army, at the mercy of others. At that moment, Celine thought of Su Yun. When she wanted to call for help, she found that Su Yun had disappeared. D***. This guy is really disloyal. He runs away when he's in trouble. He's not loyal at all. Celine despised Su Yun fiercely in her heart, but in that moment, 2 more gunshots rang out, and 2 more people fell beside her. Now only Lighter and Bagalia were left by her side. It seemed that nothing could be changed. God, if you want me to die, then I'll just die. Celine had given up on the illusion of life. However, there were no more gunshots, and Lighter and Bagalia did not fall after being shot. A few minutes later, 2 figures, a man and a woman, each dragging 2 people, walked towards Celine. Just as Lighter and Bagalia were about to shoot, Celine shouted, "Put the guns down." The man and woman were Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya. The 4 people they were dragging were the 4 gunmen who were hiding in the dark and shooting. Obviously, all 4 of them had been knocked unconscious. Celine was touched. She didn't expect that Su Yun would still choose to save her when she was in danger. Even though she had been so merciless just now, thinking about what she had done just now, she really shouldn't have done that. The 2 bodyguards opened their mouths wide in surprise. They didn't expect the man and woman to be so strong. So many of them had been beaten to death or injured, but this man and woman had quietly solved all the problems. Celine, you must have offended someone. You can interrogate them when they wake up. Su Yun threw them in front of Celine. With such a big thing happening, I think you should call your father and tell him. Celine was so touched that she didn't know what to say. Su Yun, thank you. You're welcome, Su Yun said. It's nothing. I don't want to cause any misunderstandings or trouble, so I'll take my leave first. After Su Yun finished speaking, he was really ready to leave. Bai Xiaoya scolded him for being an idiot in her heart. Now was the time to talk about conditions. Wait a minute. Celine suddenly called out to Su Yun. I'll take what you said to heart. Once I have news of Gu Qia, I'll let you know immediately. Give me your contact information. Chapter 11-12. Su Yun smiled. I don't mind leaving a way to contact you. But if I'm not wrong, these gunmen aren't the only ones who want Miss Celine's life. I think your father must have offended someone recently. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done such a thing. If Miss Celine wants to go home safely, I think I might be able to stay by your side and help. Bai Xiaoya rolled her eyes angrily. Are you crazy? She has 2 bodyguards with her. Just tell them to drive away quickly. Why are you still meddling? Do you have a lot of free time? Celine really didn't expect Su Yun to be so loyal. Su Yun's loyalty to her really made Celine's face heat up. She didn't know what she should say or do to make up for her attitude towards Su Yun and the others. If you want to go, you can go by yourself. I'm not going. It was dangerous enough just now, Bai Xiaoya said. Don't forget why you're here. You're not here to clean up the mess of the Dark Angels. Bai Xiaoya was right. Su Yun also knew that he wasn't here to clean up the mess of the Dark Angels. However, only with the help of the Dark Angels could he determine if Gu Chia was in Vancouver as soon as possible. If she was, he could find her as soon as possible and ensure her safety. Although it seemed that Su Yun was helping the Dark Angel's young lady and protecting her safety, in reality, he was here to do it. In fact, he was here for his real purpose. Many things are like this. If we go straight for this purpose, it'll backfire and we won't get any results at all. However, if we go in a different direction and borrow their strength, we might get a better result. The logic was simple, but most people didn't understand it. I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble, Celine said to Su Yun. No matter what, I thank you for helping me. If you hadn't saved me, I might have died now. Even if you leave now, I have no right to blame you. Really? Su Yun pulled Bai Xiaoya over and said to Celine. Don't listen to her nonsense. She was just venting. Where's your car? We'll leave immediately. I'll drive and she'll take care of you. Su Yun raised his eyebrows and looked at Bai Xiaoya. Bai Xiaoya wanted to refuse several times, but she was suppressed by Su Yun's gaze. Okay, I'll listen to you. That's a good boy. You just need to remember your promise to me, Su Yun said. Come out and listen to me. You have to do what you said. Celine couldn't care less. It was better that Su Yun was there to save her. Together with the two surviving bodyguards, Lighter and Bagalia, they quickly made their way to the parking lot. The two bodyguards got into an Audi Q7 without hesitation. Celine hurriedly took out her car keys and handed them to Su Yun. It wasn't the sports car that Celine drove last time, but a huge Cadillac full-size SUV with a 6.2-liter engine. Celine probably didn't drive this car, and she needed bodyguards to sit in the back. That was why she got such a big car. A big car was comfortable to sit in, but it definitely wasn't as flexible as a small car. The small steel cannons on the market that cost more than 200,000 yuan were definitely easier to drive than the medium and large cars that cost 500,000 yuan. After Lighter started the car, he quickly backed it back. Bagalia jumped out of the car and threw the unconscious guys that Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya had made into the car. These guys must be brought back for interrogation and then tortured to death. They actually killed so many of the Dark Angels. They were simply too audacious. After seeing that Lighter and Bagalia were done, Su Yun quickly started the car and rushed to Celine's house under her guidance. Bai Xiaoya and Celine didn't like each other from the beginning, so even if they were sitting in the back, they didn't say a word. There was no common language at all. The reason why she was sitting next to Celine to protect her was entirely because of Su Yun. Sure enough, things were as Su Yun had guessed. The other party came prepared and went all out. Although the 4 gunmen were taken care of, several cars suddenly appeared on the road. Su Yun looked in the rearview mirror a few times and was completely sure of the answer in his heart. Bai Xiaoya also looked out the window a few times and said to Su Yun, We're being targeted. What should we do? Run, of course, Su Yun said. In the blink of an eye, the fastest approaching Ford Explorer had already begun to hit the parking spot of Su Yun's Escalade. Clang! Although it was a very slight collision, the external force of the car driving at high speed still shocked Celine into a cold sweat. Fortunately, Su Yun had a tight grip on the steering wheel. Su Yun and the others were in no danger, but the Audi Q7 driven by Lighter wasn't so lucky. It was surrounded by 3 cars. No matter how good the car was, it would lose control after being hit from the left or the right. Lighter couldn't slow down and stop. If he did, he would definitely be besieged by the other party, and it would be impossible for him to escape. It was under such high-speed impact that the Audi Q7 driven by Lighter suddenly rolled over. The whole car rushed off the road and rolled several times in a row. Black smoke billowed out, and without giving the people in the car a chance to escape the scene, it exploded with a bang. The last 2 bodyguards were also dead. They were the 2 people who had protected Celine since she was a child. No matter how numb Celine's heart was, she couldn't help but tear up. F***ck. Did they have to be so ruthless? Su Yun hugged the steering wheel tightly. Fortunately, the car built by Lao Meizi was powerful enough. The 6.2-liter V8 engine had more than 400 horsepower. The power alone wasn't enough to explain everything. The engine also had a maximum torque of 565 Nm, which could accelerate this steel machine weighing more than 2.5 tons to 100 kilometers per hour in 7 seconds. After the Audi Q7 rolled over, Soo-Yun stepped on the accelerator even harder. He didn't want to end up like that Audi. Soo-Yun knew very well that no matter what kind of car it was, it would lose control and roll over when it encountered continuous deliberate collisions. It had nothing to do with whether the car was good or bad, and it had nothing to do with driving skills. Run. There was only one thought in Soo-Yun's mind. But after all, it was a full-size SUV weighing more than 2.5 tons. It was impossible to get rid of the other party's car quickly. After all, the other party's cars that were chasing after them were all very good cars. Soo-Yun tried to drive his car in an S-shaped route to prevent the other party from overtaking him. If they wanted to rear-end him, Soo-Yun wasn't afraid at all. After all, his car was big, and there was no one behind him. He couldn't hurt anyone at all. As long as he wasn't overturned by the other party's cooperation, nothing would be a problem. Even with Soo-Yun's careful driving, there was still a Lexus that rushed into the right lane of Soo-Yun's car. F***ck. Although this car was definitely a luxury brand, it was still a Japanese car. The quality of Japanese cars was good, but they were also known for their poor resistance to collisions. If it had been a Ford or a Jeep, Soo-Yun might not have dared to hit it head-on. But since it was a Lexus, then don't blame him for not holding back. Soo-Yun found a neutral gear and held the steering wheel tightly. Suddenly, he twisted the car and accelerated. Celine and Bai Xiaoye only felt a sudden jolt. The Lexus lost control for some reason and flipped continuously off the road. In the end, it flipped over and landed on the side of the road. Chapter 11-13. Although Soo-Yun had taken care of one of their cars, the other party was still fearless. Instead, they chased after them even more crazily, and some of them even started ramming into their car. This kind of behavior would definitely hurt the car behind, but Soo-Yun would still be affected. After all, after a high-speed car was hit, the wheels would always lose control, and its grip would also be affected. Fortunately, Soo-Yun had a firm grip on the steering wheel. He really wished that he was driving a Santana with manual transmission. Although the technology was far inferior to the Escalade, a small car was much more agile than this wide and fat car. It would not be like Soo-Yun, who could only step on the accelerator all the way to the end. Whether they could escape or not, they could only leave it to fate. Just then, a gunshot rang out, and the bullet hit the car. The crisp sound of the bullet hitting the car sounded so unpleasant and moving. F***ck. You can't catch up, so you're shooting. If the bullet hit the fuel tank, no matter how capable they were, they would still be blown to death in this car. They would end up like the people in the Audi Q7. They wouldn't even have a complete corpse, and they wouldn't even have to send them to the crematorium. Don't worry, this car has been modified. Even the tires are bulletproof, Celine said. Then, she took out a few weapons from the back seat. There were pistols and submachine guns, and she handed one to Bai Xiaoye. Do you know how to use it? Have you used a pistol before? After all, there was a difference between Chinese and Western culture. In Huaxia 99.8% of the time, it didn't mean shooting with a pistol. Bai Xiaoye's face turned red, but she quickly recovered. Of course. But Bai Xiaoye holstered the pistol behind her waist and picked up a submachine gun. At times like this, I prefer to use this. As soon as she finished speaking, Bai Xiaoye rolled down the window and leaned out half of her body. She held the submachine gun firmly with both hands and aimed at the front wheel of the Ford closest to them. Then she started shooting wildly. The two front wheels of the speeding Ford burst at the same time. The car was completely out of control, and the rear of the car swung heavily to the side. It even knocked over another Toyota that was following closely behind. Seeing that they also had guns, the other party aimed at Bai Xiaoye and fired wildly. Fortunately, Bai Xiaoye turned around in time, or she would have been turned into a dice. Poor Soo-Yun, who was driving, had his head lowered the whole way. He didn't have a choice. Bullets didn't have eyes. If someone pierced through the back of his head, his death would be too light. Speeding all the way, there was a hail of bullets along the way. This road chase was directly interpreted as a Hong Kong police and bandit movie battle. Although it was not as gorgeous as the movie, it was expensive because it was real. The sound of bullets hitting the car was definitely not pleasant to hear. No matter how bulletproof a car was, there would always be a time when it would be penetrated, right? Once the two sides fired at each other, the crosshairs were basically gone. No one dared to stick their head out to look for a headshot. They could only stick out their guns and shoot randomly. When Celine saw that Bai Xiaoya had destroyed two of the enemy's cars, she naturally didn't want to be outdone. She held a submachine gun in one hand and a gun in the other. She didn't even look as she shot out of the window. Fortunately, there were very few people in Canada, so there were very few cars on the road. She didn't have to worry about hurting innocent people. Although Celine's shooting was purely a waste of bullets, it really had a deterrent effect. At least, no car dared to catch up with them and cause a collision. However, shooting like this was a waste of bullets. Soon, all the weapons in the car were out of bullets. However, Su Yun, who was only responsible for driving, still got enough opportunities. This old American luxury car brand really didn't disappoint Su Yun. It was really tough. After a crazy collision, Su Yun finally killed his way out of the encirclement and forced a path out. Finally, Celine saw hope. Once they entered her territory, she didn't have to worry anymore. Her father's people would immediately realize that something was wrong. There was only one end for these people who chased after them. That was death. However, the other party didn't do as Celine hoped. After seeing Su Yun driving the Escalade into the hinterland of Rode Lavini's private residence, they all slammed on the brakes, turned around, and quickly left without any hesitation. When Rode Lavini's people rushed over with firearms to support the young lady's car, the other party's people had all evacuated. Damn. How did those bastards know that there was an ambush here? I didn't even see it, Su Yun said in surprise. Once they enter here, they will enter the hinterland of my home, Celine said. I think they should know this. Since they knew this, it was obvious that the other party was familiar with the Dark Angel. Su Yun had doubts in his heart. Since they were familiar with the Dark Angel, they should know very well that the Dark Angel couldn't be provoked. Then, why would they take such a big risk? They were so ruthless, their firepower was so fierce. And the people who came out to do things were so reckless. If they were to show their strength, it would seem that they were not weaker than the Dark Angel. Bai Xiaoya finally heaved a sigh of relief when there was no danger. She didn't even want to look at Su Yun now. It didn't matter if they saved people, but they had almost lost both their lives. What was this? This was not how Lei Feng learned. Finally, the car was stopped by two strong white men. Celine rolled down the window and said sternly, "Where's my father? I want to see him. I was almost killed just now." Hearing that the young lady had almost died, the members of the Dark Angel were really terrified. After getting out of the car, Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya followed Celine all the way to the huge villa in front of them. Rode Lavini was shocked to hear that his daughter had encountered such a big thing. His anger was quickly directed at Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya. After all, so many of his subordinates had died, but his daughter had two people who were still alive. How could he not be suspicious? Rode Lavini could become the #1 figure in Canada's Dark Angel. He was definitely outstanding in shrewdness and scheming. Su Yun had long figured this out. Therefore, before entering the house, he secretly told Bai Xiaoya that Rode Lavini was definitely an old fox, and that they had better be careful. Sure enough, the old fox turned hostile at once. His subordinates suddenly attacked Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya. Su Yun wasn't going to be courteous with these small fries. Before the guy who pounced at him could even swing his fist, he was kicked several meters away by Su Yun's heavy foot before he fell heavily to the ground. Bai Xiaoya didn't show any mercy. With a simple grab, she directly broke the attacker's wrist. She lifted her knee and hit the opponent's ribs under his armpit. Then, she threw the person out and slammed him against the wall. "Stop it, all of you!" Celine suddenly roared at her father's men who were about to give it a try. She then turned to Rodnan and Lavini and asked, "Dad, they saved me. How can you let your men do this to them? They are my friends." Rode Lavini frowned. He was shocked by Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya's skills. The two of them were really extraordinary. Your bodyguards are all dead, but these two outsiders brought you back unscathed. Celine, how can I not suspect your two friends? Rhodes said, there's an old saying in the East, you may know a person's face but not his heart. How can I believe that they didn't plan this just because I met them once? What if their real purpose is to kill me? This question really stumped Celine. Su Yin was about to explain, but Bai Xiaoya suddenly took out a pistol from behind her waist. She skillfully unlocked the safety and loaded the gun. With a bang, she shot at the crystal chandelier on the ceiling. The chandelier on the ceiling fell to the ground with a bang. The crystal ball scattered all over the floor like a bead with a broken string. Chapter 11:14. If our goal was to use Miss Celine to come here and shoot you, then we wouldn't have done that. Now you won't have the chance to talk to us anymore. Bai Xiaoya was quite like her master in this aspect. As soon as her cold aura came out, even the number one figure of the Dark Angels was shocked. After Bai Xiaoya finished speaking, she obviously realized that Su Yin would definitely say that she was not low-key enough. But in this case, if she kept a low profile, she would only be bullied even more. She glanced at Su Yun, only to find that Su Yun unexpectedly had no intention of scolding her. Instead, he had a praising smile on his face. TSK, now you know that you need a hardliner like me to stand up for you, right? Even if it was an opera, everyone would only find it interesting if one played the good cop, and the other played the bad cop. It was the same in real life. Bai Xiaoya coldly turned hostile, and Su Yun added a few more words. He believed that Rodnan Lavini wasn't a fool, and could see that they had no ill intentions. Mr. Rodnan Lavini, Miss Celine and I are friends, which is why I took such a big risk to send her back here, Su Yun said. But I didn't expect that I would be in danger after bringing her here. I know the strength of the Dark Angels, and I know that this is your territory. Even those who are chasing Miss Celine so fiercely don't dare to come here. I should have stopped and let Miss Celine come back on her own. Although it might be a little dangerous, I wouldn't be trapped under the suspicion of the Dark Angels now. Why are you still talking so much nonsense with them at this time? Bai Xiaoya said coldly. Let's go now. If they dare to stop us, then don't blame me for being rude. Su Yun glanced at Celine. Celine, as a friend, I've done what I should. It's your father who doesn't welcome us, so we'll leave first. Dad. Seeing this, Celine vented all her resentment on her father. What right do you have to suspect my friend? The two of you. Please wait. Rodnan Lavini suddenly said. Please forgive my irrationality just now. I hope you can understand. As a father, my feelings at that moment were really complicated. On behalf of all the members of the Dark Angel, I would like to apologize to both of you. My poor hospitality was entirely due to my emotions. If you don't mind, let's sit down and talk. Su Yin laughed in his heart. Now that was more like it. To put it simply, Celine was lucky to have met him today. In the future, he would be the savior of their Miss Dark Angel. He was definitely the most distinguished guest of the Dark Angels. I don't think that's necessary. Bai Xiaoya's face was still stiff. Celine didn't have a good impression of Bai Xiaoya in the beginning, and it was natural for beauties to pick on each other. However, Bai Xiaoya had saved her life, and she still hoped to make a friend like her. Miss Bai, I'm sorry for everything I've done. I hope you can forgive me. I'm really grateful for everything you and Su Yin have done for me. Please stay and give me a chance to thank you. Ouch. Bai Xiaoya was definitely the first person who could make Miss Celine of the Dark Angel apologize so humbly. Not to mention the members of the Dark Angel. Even Rodnan Lavini couldn't believe his ears. Was that what his daughter said just now? It was too unbelievable. Although Bai Xiaoya looked cold and arrogant, her ears weren't hard enough. She was too embarrassed to lose her temper after hearing Celine's words. I didn't mean that. I just felt that I didn't get the respect I deserved. Bai Xiaoya said. Bai Xiaoya said. If you help someone and are still suspected, you'll definitely feel uncomfortable. Put yourself in their shoes. Celine nodded. Yes, you're right. Put yourself in their shoes. F***ck. What the hell is going on? Celine is such an unreasonable lady of the Dark Angel, but she can actually talk about something so profound with Bai Xiaoya in such a calm manner. This really shocked Soo-yun. Even Rodnan Lavini couldn't believe that she had such a sensible daughter. Dad, they need help, Celine said. Although I know this favor is indeed beyond our principles, I didn't agree to it. But at that time, I didn't agree to it, and they didn't hit me when I was down. They even risked their lives to save me. So, I don't care about principles. I have to help them. Bingo. Soo-yun secretly snapped his fingers. This was the effect he wanted. As long as Celine spoke, it would be difficult for Rodnan Lavini to say no. Everyone in Canada knew that Rodney Levine doted on his only daughter. Sure enough, Rodnan Lavini nodded. If there's anything you need me to do, just let me know. We just want you to help us find someone. Bai Xiaoya was in a good mood. Celine smiled and interrupted Bai Xiaoya. Let me say it, in case my father gets angry and scares you. Rodnan Lavini's expression changed when he heard this. Why did his daughter say that? It's been a few days since Gu Guolong of the Big Circle was taken away by American agents, Celine said to her father. Rhodes and Lavini frowned. If you want me to help you find Gu Guolong, I'm afraid I can't help you with that. Gu Guolong of the Big Circle can't still be in Vancouver. He must have been taken away by the Americans. The Dark Angel has a wide network in Canada, but it doesn't apply in the United States. So, it's not that I don't want to help you, but that I really can't help you. Dad, let me finish, Celine said. They don't want you to help them find Gu Guolong, but Gu Guolong's daughter, Gu Chia. After a pause, Celine continued. When the Americans took Gu Guolong away, Gu Chia wasn't in Vancouver. Soo-yun said that she just came back yesterday. She must be looking for her father. Dad, if we can find her before the Americans find her, we will be doing Soo-yun a great favor. Celine had expressed herself very clearly about such a small matter. There was no need for Soo-yun to add anything. Soo-yun's eyes fell on Rodnan Lavini, waiting for him to say something. Rodnan Lavini thought for a moment and finally looked up. Celine, do you know that we are going against the Americans by doing this? If we go against them, we, the Dark Angel, will not have a good ending. Their agents and special operations forces have received quite systematic training, and we... Dad, don't say so much. Are you helping or not? Celine said. I know all the things you said. If you don't want the Dark Angel to get involved in this mess, then I will help them myself. You help? How can you help? What do you have? It's not that easy, Rodnan Lavini said. Besides, you are being hunted down now. I don't even have a clue about the other party. I really don't have the energy to do anything against the Americans. I hope you understand, Dad. Celine was really disappointed, very disappointed. Rodnan Lavini couldn't bear it and added, I know you will blame me. Is this okay? After I solve our own problems, we will first solve the problem of who wants to assassinate you. Then we will talk about this matter, because we really don't have the energy now. You don't have to worry about my business, Celine said. Soo-yun suddenly said, Mr. Rodnan Lavini, do you really have no clue about what happened today? If you really have no clue, maybe I can help you. Really? Rodnan Lavini's eyes lit up. He had seen Soo-yun's skills. This kid was definitely not simple. If you can help me, then I promise you that I will help you find Gu Chia's whereabouts. It's a deal. Soo-yun smiled. Chapter 11:15. A promise made by a man was a man of his word. Soo-yun stood up and looked around the villa. Mr. Rodney Levine, how much of the hinterland around this villa is your personal territory? Very much. It's my territory since those cars didn't dare to chase after you, Rodney Levine said. If they dared to chase after you at that time, they would have been blown to ashes by my people. How many people know about this? Soo-yun said lightly. At least when I walked to that place, I didn't know that I had entered your territory. I believe that most people don't know about this kind of thing. Those who know that this place is your territory must have heard you talk about it before, and have been to this place before. Otherwise, how could they know? Rodnan Lavini's expression changed instantly. His cold eyes glinted coldly. You mean, the person who did this to Celine is someone who is familiar with me, and may have even come to this place with me, and heard me talk about this territory of mine? Soo-yun shrugged and spread his hands. Needless to say, Only those who have heard from you and your own people can know these things. It's impossible for outsiders to know. What a simple truth. Mr. Rodney Levine, if I'm not wrong, there must be someone who knows all this. He must have had a conflict of interest with you in the past few days, or some kind of conflict of common interests. Su-Yun said, and in this conflict of interest, the one who gets the most out of it is you, Mr. Rodney Levine. So, Rodney Levine's face was getting paler and paler. Su-Yun's inference was indeed what happened a few days ago. 2 years ago, he and his old friend Peter Lanshan, the leader of the Knights Templar, developed a project about tourism, shopping malls, and housing. Their purpose was very clear, which was to earn money from the pockets of the rich people who traveled abroad in Huaxia. But a week ago, they had some conflicts on this project. The money in the pockets of these Huaxia rich people was often not obtained through normal channels, so they squandered money like water without any hesitation. They would buy whatever was expensive or luxurious. In short, in the eyes of these Huaxia people who went shopping abroad, money was not money at all. He didn't even blink when he swiped his card. He spent more than 100,000 USD as if nothing had happened. However, everyone also knew that the gap between the rich and the poor in Huaxia was very obvious. In 1983, a certain Comrade Ping came to power and announced that the Huaxia movement would lead to a socialist society with Huaxia characteristics. He wanted some people to get rich first. Then, as expected, some people became rich first. This was a good thing. Huaxia's reform and opening up had undergone earth-shaking changes, and the people's living standards were also flourishing. However, this group of people who became rich first did not turn back to help those who did not become rich. Instead, they only cared about continuing to become rich. As a result, the gap between the rich and the poor in Huaxia became huge. To be honest, the gap between the rich and the poor in a socialist society far exceeded that in a capitalist society. It was simply a joke. Fortunately, in 1993, another Comrade Ping appeared. Would he change this situation? At least now. It seemed that many people who did not understand the source of their wealth were beginning to be afraid. This fear was also expressed in their shopping sprees abroad. It seemed that only by spending this money would they not be investigated and killed in their hands. Rhodes, Levine, and Peter Lanshan saw this point and began to research this tourism project. They even developed large villas that Huaxia people liked and built them directly around the scenic spots. They knew that Huaxia people did not lack money and would definitely be willing to spend it, so they could earn money. This was actually enough to earn money, but Peter Lanshan proposed that they sell some fake luxury goods in the shopping malls that they invested in at the same time. Peter Lanshan made his fortune by faking and imitating fake goods. In his eyes, Huaxia people were country bumpkins. Even if it was fake, if you put it in a specialty store, they would think it was real. They did not look at the material or style. What they cared about was the price. As long as it was expensive, that was good. If they did not buy the right one, they would buy the expensive one. This was the characteristic of Huaxia country bumpkins. In the eyes of foreigners, this was the level of a group of people who had become rich first, cultivated by socialist countries with Huaxia characteristics. But Rhodes Levine disagreed. He felt that it was okay to make money from high-end products. This was not wrong, but they could not use fake goods to destroy high-end products. There was a conflict between the two. Rhodes Levine felt that there was no need to earn this money, while Peter Lanshan felt that Rhodes Levine deliberately did not want him to earn this money. It was not like he did not want to give Rhodes a share of the profits. If he could give him 30% of the profits for free, what was there to refuse? The two men caused a huge conflict on this issue, which eventually led to a falling out. But in the end, things passed like this. Peter Lanshan did not care about Rhodes Levine's opposition, and secretly put the fake luxury goods into the shopping malls. Peter Lanshan had been secretly doing this, and the profits from it were also in his own pocket. But there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. Rhodes Levine finally found out. The enraged Rhodes Levine gave the order, and the hundreds of Dark Angel members found all the counterfeit luxury goods in the mall and destroyed them all. The value of these things did not matter, but Peter Lanshan's face seemed to be burned with these things. This matter completely caused a conflict between the two men. Peter Lanshin, who learned of this matter, also rushed to the scene with the paladins. The scene was at daggers drawn. If the riot police had not appeared in time, something big might have happened. The two friends, who had always had a good cooperative relationship, unexpectedly ended up in this situation because of their different standpoints. Rhodes realized that this matter must be because Peter Lanshin held a grudge and wanted to retaliate against him. Peter Lanshin knew very well that the most important thing to Rhodes was his daughter. Everything else was better than letting him experience the pain of losing his daughter. Seeing that Rodnan Lavini didn't speak for a long time, Suyin asked, "Mr. Rodnan Lavini, I believe you already know who did it, right?" "Not only have I realized it, I'm even sure." Rhodes gritted his teeth and said, "I really didn't expect Peter to be so vicious after knowing him for so many years. I will never forgive him for this matter. Since the paladins want to provoke the majesty of the Dark Angel, I will let them know who is the #1 master of Canada." Pa. Rodney Levine slammed his palm on the table. Celine's eyes widened in disbelief. She could not believe that the person she had always called uncle would do such a thing to her. Did Dad make a mistake? How could it be? Everyone said they were indebted to you when you were alive, but everyone wanted to fan your grave after you died. It is difficult to paint a dragon or a tiger, but it is difficult to paint the bones. You may know a person's face, but not his heart. Bai Xiaoya seemed to see Celine's disappointment and comforted her. Celine glanced at Bai Xiaoya gratefully. All the disgust she had for her before had now disappeared. At this moment, she really hoped that she could have a best friend to vent her frustrations. Although she had just met Bai Xiaoya, she really hoped that Bai Xiaoya could be her audience. Rhodes made a few phone calls and was ready to denounce the culprit. With so many people, they would definitely not be at a disadvantage, so Suyin decided to add flowers to the brocade. "Mr. Rhodes, if you don't mind, I can go with you. Maybe I can help. I can't ask for more," Rhodes said. Of course, he hoped to have the help of an expert. "Bai Xiaoya, I will leave Miss Celine to you." Suyin raised his eyebrows. Chapter 11:16. The aura of the Dark Angel's boss was absolutely overwhelming. Just for this trip alone, for Harley-Davidson motorcycles led the way, while the rest were all Cadillacs. The 3 leading vehicles and the 2 trailing behind were all SUVs. The one that Rhodes and Lavini were in was the same model as Little Bama's. They were all custom-made and could probably even defend against missiles. Suyin naturally sat in the same car as Rodnan Lavini. There were more than 20 people in the 5 cars, and they were just his personal attendants. After making a few phone calls, the Dark Angel's people had already gathered in all directions and were heading to the same destination. It was the headquarters of the Knights Templar Society, a club in Vancouver, Peter Locken. This was the place where Peter lived for a long time. Many of the matters of the Knights Templar were decided in this place. When Suyin arrived at the scene in Rodnan Lavini's car, the headquarters of the Knights Templar was already surrounded by the Dark Angel's people. This aura was definitely not weaker than the aura of any Chinese mafia boss who wanted to destroy someone. When the hundreds of people saw Rodnan and Lavini, they all greeted their boss in unison. This earth-shattering sound naturally alarmed the people in the club. Peter Lavini had already realized that the visitors were not friendly, but he did not expect that there would be more and more Dark Angel's people. He quickly contacted his subordinates to bring people to rescue him. However, the Dark Angel's people came too quickly. In just 10 minutes, hundreds of people had gathered. In less than half an hour, even Rodnan Lavini had arrived in person. Peter Lavini was very clear that what he had done had been seen through by Rodnan Lavini. Otherwise, Rodnan Lavini would not have come to trouble him in such a big way. After all, this was Vancouver, and such a big commotion would require some explanation. Although he was at a disadvantage, fortunately, Peter Lavini still had some men here. He was not to be outdone. He directly ordered dozens of men present to pick up their weapons and ammunition, and decided to come out and talk to Rodnan Lavini in person. A minute after Rod Lavini got off the car, Peter Lanshin appeared in front of him. "Rodnan Lavini, what is the meaning of this? Are you planning to flatten the headquarters of the Holy Knights by bringing so many people here?" Peter Landison said. No matter what, everyone can calm down and sit together to talk slowly. We can always talk it out. It won't get to the point where it can't be resolved, right? Rodnan Lavini sneered. Peter Lanshin, how dare you say that to me? Since I'm here, you should know why I'm here. The fact that Peter Lanshin had sent someone to kill Celine had been exposed, but he still refused to admit it. You need evidence to do something. If you don't have evidence, you can't prove anything just by guessing. Rodnan Lavini, you are the leader of the Dark Angels. You should be clear about such a simple principle, right? It was true that Rodney Levine had no evidence, but there was no need for evidence. In Vancouver, the only person who had the guts to touch his daughter could only be Peter Lanshin, a paladin. If you don't have evidence, why are you here? Who said we don't have evidence? Of course, we won't come here without evidence, Suyin suddenly said. You want evidence, right? Well, then I'll convince you. Rodnan Lavini looked at Suyin in surprise. What evidence could he have? Peter Lanshin's eyes widened. His people didn't leave any evidence at all. Those who deserved to die were dead, and those who should have fled had fled. The scene of you stealing is already in the surveillance video. Suyin suddenly said nonsense. Take out a computer, and I'll show it to everyone. Everyone was dumbfounded. What did he mean? What was going on? Why did he take out a computer? Peter Lanshin was completely confused. He frowned and asked, why did you come to me? Isn't it because someone wants to kill Celine? Ha ha ha. Didn't you say you wanted evidence? None of us said that we came to you because Miss Celine is in trouble. Someone wants to kill her. How did you know? Suyin suddenly said sternly. Peter Lanshin, what else do you have to say? If you didn't arrange for someone to do this, how could you know that Miss Celine is in trouble? Peter Lanshin was stunned. He didn't know how he had let it slip. Rodnan Lavini's eyes turned cold. Peter Lanshin, I can't believe that you and I are business partners. Even if we're enemies, we understand that it's not as simple as family. You're so despicable that you arranged for someone to shoot my daughter. Are you still human? You burned my things. What kind of business partner are you? Peter Lanshin said, we've worked together for so many years, and you're falling out with me over such a small thing. I'm just making use of some Huaxia people to make some money. What do you mean by cutting off my source of income? Do you think Huaxia people are stupid? Do you think they can't tell what's real and what's fake? Selling fake goods will only give you a bad reputation. Who will come here to travel in the future? Although you've earned temporary benefits, you've lost the future. Rodnan Lavini said, all the countries in the world know that Huaxia people who travel abroad are rich. Huaxia people pay attention to a poor family's road to riches. Everyone has their eyes on Huaxia people's pockets. You're ruining our credibility by doing this. Peter Lanshin sneered. You just don't think you've earned enough money. If you say so, then there's no need for us to work together. Rodnan Lavini said. It's useless to say more. Today, I'll let you know who has the final say in the Canadian community. Then let's try it. Peter Lanshin had delayed enough time, and the Holy Knights had arrived. Although they were surrounded by the Dark Angels people, the people who came later surrounded the Dark Angels people. Instead, it became a pincer attack. Everyone had guns. If a fight broke out, it was not certain who would gain the advantage and who would lose. After all, it was not a competition of fists and hands. Bullets were not fun to play with. Once it was really chaotic, it would be troublesome. The Dark Angel and the Holy Knights were equal in strength. It was hard to say who was more powerful. After the fight, both sides would only suffer. Once the Dark Angel was seriously injured, there would be no one to help Suyin look for people. Suyin must be anxious now. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. The leader of such a large-scale community had a very high status. There was no doubt that once Peter Lanshin was under control, the Holy Knights would naturally not act rashly. The atmosphere at the scene was already at daggers drawn. Rodnan Lavini realized that things were not good. After all, he was caught in the middle. Although the Dark Angel people were more than the Holy Knights, they did not have the geographical advantage. Everyone had the same timing and people. The only difference was the geographical advantage. Rodnan Lavini thought of Su Yun's skills and knew that he was not a simple person. He quickly prepared to ask him for a solution. But when he looked back, he found that Su Yun, who was just beside him, had disappeared. Chapter 11:17. All of you stop. With Su Yun's angry rebuke, the sudden burst of pressure made the scene quiet down in an instant. This kind of powerful deterrence would definitely make anyone tremble in fear. Rode Lavini looked in the direction of Su Yun's voice and was shocked. Su Yun, who was still beside him a few seconds ago, was behind Peter Landru in the blink of an eye, holding a very familiar pistol in his hand. Seeing this, Rode Lavini frowned and reached for his back. The silver Desert Eagle, in Su Yun's hand, was indeed taken from him. Rode Lavini was more and more impressed with Su Yun and more surprised. What kind of magic did this mysterious young man from Huaxia use to move behind Peter Landru in such a short time? Moreover, what method did he use to remove the pistol from the back of his clothes without him noticing at all? Compared to Rode Lavini, Peter Landru was even more surprised at this moment. He couldn't believe that a guy with a weapon would suddenly appear behind him, with a gun pointed at his head. Even if he was the leader of the Temple Knights who had seen great storms, he would still break out in a cold sweat. Most of the time, on the negotiation table, people would say some extremely threatening words to each other, and nothing would happen. For example, if you dare to fight with me for this territory, I will kill your entire family, exterminate your 9 generations, and tear you to pieces. Most of these words were just empty words. On the contrary, this kind of person who silently put a gun to their head was even more frightening. This was because although this kind of person didn't speak, they were most likely to shoot you directly without giving you a chance to speak. In the past, whether it was the former leader of the Temple Knights or the previous leader of the Dark Angels, they all died in this kind of silent assassination. Friend, let's talk nicely. We don't have to do this. Peter Landru was very clear that if he didn't take the lead, he would probably die here today. Put down the gun first. We have something to talk about. With their boss under control, the paladins didn't dare to move. This solved the Dark Angel's urgent problem. At this moment, the dozens of brothers around Peter Lanshan were all aiming at Su Yun. Let's talk things over. Sure, I hope Mr. Peter Landison will keep his word. Su Yun said. I'll put away my gun. Let's talk things over. But let me say this, I will only give you one chance to speak properly. Peter Landison nodded. As long as Su Yun put away his gun, everything would be fine. You can't trust him. Rodnan and Lavini's reminder was too late, because Su Yun had already strapped the pistol to his waist. The moment Su Yun placed his pistol behind his waist, dozens of people around Peter Landison immediately launched an attack at Su Yun. Because their boss Peter Landison was also beside Su Yun, no one dared to shoot. Of course, they were afraid that the bullets would accidentally injure their boss. If they wanted to subdue Su Yun with their fists and feet, these white and strong guys who grew up eating steaks were really asking for trouble. When Su Yun turned sideways and kicked the first guy who rushed in front of him, sending him flying more than 10 meters away, the situation instantly became one-sided. Simple uppercuts, straight kicks, elbows, knees. Su Yun landed almost every move on an enemy. In a short span of 20 to 30 seconds, all the ferocious guys around Peter Landison were lying on the ground, moaning in pain. Peter Landison knew best whether these people could fight or not. Not to mention fists, the people around him were all elites of the paladins. Even if he was shot, he could still run a 10,000-meter-long run without a problem. But with Su Yun's fists and feet, they were all lying on the ground. Su Yun's simple fists contained a huge amount of force that Peter Landison could not believe. These guys who were hit by Su Yun's fists and feet would have a few broken bones, and those who were seriously injured would probably need to go to the emergency room for emergency treatment. If they were late, they would probably die. Before Peter Landison could recover, Su Yun's pistol, which was originally placed behind his waist, was now clearly pressed between his eyebrows. Peter Landison, you are the leader of the paladins. How can you talk like a fart? Su Yun said. I said, I'll give you a chance. Let's talk nicely. Don't make a big fuss. After all, this is downtown Vancouver. It won't be good for any of you to make too much noise. Peter Landison swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, Friend, you saw it just now. I didn't ask them to do it. Although they are my people, I didn't ask them to do it. They did it themselves. I'm not blind. Su-Yin said. If you didn't give them a look, they wouldn't have dared to joke with your life. Su-Yun's domineering aura absolutely shocked everyone present. Rodnan and Lavini sighed and shook their heads repeatedly. They couldn't even believe what they were seeing. The other members of the Dark Angel were so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths. Their boss had such a fierce person by his side. Just one of them was enough to solve this problem. What did he need them for? To stand on the stage. The paladins who had arrived on the periphery were dumbfounded. Although they now occupied the periphery of the encirclement, their boss was already surrounded by the Dark Angels and had a pistol pointed at his head. How could they fight? There was no way to fight at all. You have to be kind, just like vinegar. Su-Yin said. As a man, you have to be true to your words. Don't play dirty. That's called despicable. That's called despicable. That's called despicable. That's called despicable. I don't know what the tempers of your Canadian clubs are like, but in Huaxia, if the boss of any club is like you, he will definitely be hacked to death. Peter Lanshan admitted defeat today. Friend, give me a chance to talk to my old friend. You even sent someone to kill my daughter. What kind of old friend are you? Rodnan and Lavini sneered. Peter Lanshan, I knew that there would be problems when we worked together a few years ago. There is a saying that people who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Although we are on the same path, people are different. I'm sorry about Celine and I regret what I did. But fortunately, Celine was lucky. Peter Lanshan said, Brother, we have worked together for many years. For the sake of our friendship, please give me a way out. From now on, there are no more Knights Templar in Vancouver. Everything is yours. Rodnan and Lavini snorted disdainfully. Don't talk like you gave it to me. Today, I kill you, and everything you have belongs to me. You know best what we do. You don't have to be so ruthless. There was already fear on Peter Lanshan's face. In this world, there was no one who wasn't afraid of death. You're the one who is ruthless, Rodnan said. You're also the one who doesn't leave a way out for yourself. Peter Lanshan still wanted to explain, but Su-Yin suddenly raised his hand and smashed the butt of his gun into Peter Lanshan's temple. Peter Lanshan's vision went black and he fell to the ground, dilly-dallying. Su-Yin murmured, Mr. Rhodes Lavini, it's up to you how you want to deal with this person. Chapter 11:18. The originally tense atmosphere became completely one-sided because of Su-Yun's personal efforts to turn the tide. Rodnan Levine waved his hand, and his men rushed forward and dragged the unconscious Peter Landrew to the car. It was absolutely effective to capture the leader first. Once the other party was leaderless, no matter how powerful the society was, it would collapse. Those who could take on the burden as soon as the boss died were definitely old backbones with both ability and prestige. And the old backbones of the Knights Templar had all been defeated by Su-Yin. The Knights Templar were quickly dismissed. Of course, there were also some sensible ones who switched sides immediately and swore allegiance to the Dark Angel in the future, hoping that Rodnan Levine would give them a chance. As for these people, Rode and Lavini would naturally incorporate them and let their subordinates deal with them. But he couldn't give these people a chance. These people were fence-sitters. If you were strong now, they would follow you, but when you were like Peter Landrew, they would also jump out at the first opportunity to cut ties with you. If he put such people in an important position, he would really be muddle-headed. The hundreds of people dispersed before the police could make a move to disperse them. This made the Vancouver police a little uncomfortable. They thought that they would have to sit back and wait for a good show where the snipe and the clam fought, and then reap the benefits of the fishermen. However, nothing happened. Su-Yin, I know that you Huaxia people are loyal, Rodnan Levine said to Su-Yin on the way back. I owe you for this. If it weren't for you, Celine would have been killed, and I wouldn't even suspect that Peter Landrew did it. It's all thanks to you. It's just a small matter, Su-Yin said. In any case, Miss Celine and I are friends. If I don't help my friend when she's in trouble, can I still be considered human? Mr. Rodnan Levine, to be able to reach your current position, you must know very well what it means to return the favor. Rodnan Levine nodded. No matter what Mr. Su requests, just ask. No matter what it is, I'll do my best. That's a serious matter. Su Yin smiled. I hope that the Dark Angel can help me with a small matter. Isn't it a piece of cake for you to find someone in Vancouver? Of course. Rodnan Levine said. I understand. Mr. Su wants to find Gu Chia of the Great Circle. I will do my best in this matter. But other than that, if Mr. Su needs my help, I will do my best. Nothing else. Su Yin. After saying that, he hesitated for a moment. Now that you mention it, I really do remember something. Rodnan Levine not only wanted to return a favor to Su Yin, but also wanted to establish a certain friendship with him. The world was so realistic. If you were capable, everyone would look up to you. Mr. Su, please go ahead. Then I'll have to trouble Mr. Rodney Levine to send me to America, Su Yin said. The quieter, the better. I think you must have a way in this regard. This small matter was too easy for Rodnan Levine. Leave it to me. Then the matter of finding Gu Chia will be troublesome, Su Yin said. I will definitely help Mr. Su solve this problem. Rodnan Levine nodded. Not only will I find her, but after I find her, I will also help you take care of her until you come back after you finish your business. Su Yin clasped his fists and said, I can't thank you enough for your kindness. Mr. Su, allow me to say one more thing, Rodnan Levine said. I can guess what you are going to do in America. You must be careful. The CIA agents are really not to be trifled with. I know that Mr. Su is skilled and bold, but as a friend, I still have to say this to you. Of course, they're all talents carefully selected by the Americans. I will be careful. Su Yin nodded. Rode and Levine were really interesting. In just a short while, they were already calling each other brothers and talking about being friends. With Rodnan Levine's guarantee, Su Yin didn't need to continue staying in Vancouver. At noon, Rodnan Levine entertained Su Yin with the highest standard of hospitality. In the afternoon, he arranged for Su Yin to enter America. Now Su Yin only needed to wait until nightfall to enter America. Dinner was naturally the highest level of hospitality. Rodnan Levine really attached great importance to Su Yin. The people of Dark Angel didn't stay idle that day. They had begun to comprehensively search for Gu Chia's whereabouts. As long as Gu Chia hadn't left Vancouver and entered America, they absolutely had the ability to find her within 24 hours. Of course, if Gu Chia had entered America, then the people of Dark Angel wouldn't be able to do anything. After a day of contact, Bai Xiaoya and Celine had obviously become good sisters who talked about everything. Sometimes, they would join forces to complain about Su Yin. Su Yin really didn't understand the world of women. At night, Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya finally got into a car under the personal escort of Rodnan Levine. As for how they could enter America so easily, it didn't matter. If Rodnan Levine said it was safe, then it was definitely safe. The car drove for more than 2 hours and stopped several times in the middle. Every time, the driver would get out of the car to communicate with someone. Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya were always on guard, ready to encounter any unexpected situations. But every time it was calm. Finally, the person in the driver's seat said, Now that we have arrived in Seattle, Mr. Rodnan Levine said that no matter where you want to go, you can tell me directly. However, the people on the way here have warned me that recently, the situation is very strict, and illegal entry is strictly checked. So, I think it's best if you two go back to Canada with me. You don't have to worry about this. We won't implicate you. Su Yin smiled. You don't have to send us anywhere. The rest of the entry is our own business. You can stop the car by the side. I'm sorry, Mr. Su. It's not that I didn't take responsibility, as Mr. Rodnan Levine said. It's just that I really don't dare to get myself into such big trouble. Su Yin waved his hand. You don't have to be so polite. You can go. Drive safe. Thank you. Looking at the car driving away, Bai Xiaoya made a disdainful expression. How unreliable. He should have at least sent us to a hotel. I told him to dump us on the side of the road. And he really dumped us on the side of the road. That's too much. Okay, don't complain. It's not easy for him to earn a living. Su-yin said. We're already lucky to be able to enter America so easily. You have to be content. Bai Xiaoya shook her head helplessly. This trip with Su-yin was really torturous. Also, she could only swallow these words. Besides her master, she had no one to complain to. If she told her master, she would definitely say that she would be at a disadvantage if she didn't listen to the advice of the elderly. It's already so dark, and we don't have any news about Matthew. There's nothing we can do, Bai Xiaoya said. We need a place to stay. Humph, that guy should at least drop us off next to a hotel. We're not familiar with this place. Where can we find a place to stay? Chapter 11:19. However, Su-yin seemed to be happy too early. Although Seattle was a big city in America, the place where they got off was relatively remote. Because America was big and had a small population, the population density was not on the same level as Huaxia. Because the place was relatively remote, it was not as easy as they thought to find a place to stay. The number of places to stay in a city as big as Seattle was probably less than the number of small hotels around a university town in Huaxia. There was also another situation. Su-yin and Bai Xiaoya had nothing on them. They had no identification or passports. If they were caught, they would be locked up. There might not be any death threats in Huaxia, but it was different in America. If they really met the police, they would have the right to shoot them if they dared to run. It was impossible for them to find a proper place to sleep now. They could only find an illegal inn. If they were not locals, it would not be easy to find an illegal inn. After a while, Bai Xiaoya's patience was completely worn down. Su-yin, can you do it or not? Although I know that I came out with you for work and not for vacation, you can't let me sleep on the streets, right? Of course not. Su-yin. Don't worry, we will definitely find an illegal inn after walking for a while. Good things come slowly. Good things come slowly. Su-yin muttered to himself as he thought optimistically. Who knows, it might be cheaper to stay in an unlicensed hotel. It's already so dark, but your heart is still so bright. I really admire you. Bai Xiaoya really wanted to knock Su-yin out with a hammer. They did not get used to the jet lag during the flight. Seeing that it was already late at night, Bai Xiaoya kept yawning. However, the two of them still did not find a place to stay, not even an illegal inn. Just when Su-yin, the optimist, thought that they would have to sleep on the streets today, a taxi slowed down as it passed by them. The driver rolled down the window and asked in a thick American accent, "Is there anything I can help you with?" To Su-yin and Bai Xiaoya, this voice was like the sound of nature. It was too pleasant to listen to. Yes, yes, yes. Friend, we really need help with something. Su-yin's eyes lit up. He finally saw a taxi. The United States was a big car country. Almost 100% of young people could afford to buy a car when they reached the age of driving. After all, the price was cheap. A 3.6-liter Wrangler only cost $27,000. Huaxia would cost at least $500,000. The Porsche Cayenne was less than $47,000, which was the price of an Audi A6. If Huaxia's cars could be sold at such a low price, it would not be just Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, Porsche, Land Rover, and so on. The 5.0-liter turbocharged version of the Range Rover only cost $96,000 in the United States, and all the top-notch configurations did not cost more than $120,000. In Huaxia, it was priced at 2,640,000 renminbi, and with a few options, the price was already close to 3 million renminbi. Even if the imperial court's taxes were high, it should not be so expensive. The anti-monopoly investigation of Huaxia's cars should continue. They should not let the foreigners cheat them. It was not easy for the people of Huaxia to make money in the world. But on the other hand, it was probably the easiest for the rich people of Huaxia to make money in the world. After all, some money was too evil. No wonder Rodnan, Lavini, and Peter Landisen were in the business of cheating the rich people of Huaxia. In the eyes of foreigners, the rich people of Huaxia were stupid and rich. Those who were willing to spend money like this were usually those who earned it too easily. Most of the money was not earned by themselves. They earned it by exploiting loopholes in the country's regulations, or by colluding with unscrupulous businessmen and corrupt officials to cheat the country. Take Tiger Zhou, who was killed by the Great Xi University, for example. It was exposed on the internet that nearly 1,000 properties were confiscated. There were probably some properties that he did not even know about. There were nearly 100 luxury cars. How could he sit in them all by himself? Antiques, calligraphy, paintings, and antiques worth billions. Just thinking about it was enough to make people tremble in fear. And this unimaginable wealth was only the tip of the iceberg. Houses, cars, calligraphy, and paintings, to put it bluntly, were just accessories of money. Su Yun believed that the country's leaders would definitely punish them severely, so he didn't need to worry about these things. The only thing he needed to worry about was finding a place where he and Bai Xiaoye could sleep peacefully for the night. "Get in," the taxi driver said. As soon as the two of them got into the car, Su Yun started chatting with the foreigner. No, he should be the foreigner now. "Sir, we have just arrived and were cheated. We lost our passports and everything. Now even accommodation is a problem." Su Yun said pitifully. "Do you know any place where we can stay without identification?" "So miserable?" The driver was a Caucasian. He touched his chin and said, "Then I will send you directly to the Huaxia embassy." No, no, no. When Su Yun heard that, she immediately refused. "It's already so late, and the embassy staff are already resting. We don't want to disturb them. We'll just find a place to rest and get through the night. Tomorrow we'll go to the embassy ourselves for help." The taxi driver looked back at Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye. Then he lowered his head and thought for a few seconds. "Okay, I know a place where you can stay. Thank you, sir." Su Yun finally heaved a sigh of relief. He turned his head and said to Bai Xiaoye proudly, "Did you see that? This is what it means to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We were lucky to get a taxi." Bai Xiaoye stared at Su Yun. "If we didn't get a taxi, you would have let me sleep on the streets, right? Don't be so smug." If his luck was good, what could Su Yun do? This was called a good person's life. About 20 minutes later, Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye were brought to an old building by the driver. The walls around the building were covered in graffiti. No matter how one looked at it, this place did not give people a sense of security. "Okay, we are here. The fare is 50, the taxi driver said. He did not even dial a meter, so he was probably an unlicensed taxi driver. Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye did not have the time to argue. They directly gave him $50. The average price of oil in the United States was $3.5 per gallon. It was only 90 US cents per liter. It was cheaper than Huaxia. It was so expensive to take a taxi for such a short distance. How greedy! The fare was a little greedy, but this place seemed reliable. Su Yun and Bai Xiaoye had just gotten out of the car when a black man in shorts and a singlet walked out. He smiled, revealing his white teeth, and said enthusiastically, "Hi, buddy. Are you looking for a place to stay? My place is very good. There won't be any police checks and the price is cheap. We have 24-hour hot water and free Wi-Fi." These conditions were good. These conditions were already 5-star for Su Yun. Bai Xiaoye frowned. "Su Yun, why do I feel that this place is a little illegal?" "Big sister, aren't we looking for an unlicensed hotel?" Su Yun did not know whether to laugh or cry. They did not have proper identities. How could there be a proper hotel for them to stay in? Moreover, even if they ran into trouble, how could they be afraid of a few American hooligans? Bai Xiaoye could only give in. She had stayed in 5-star hotels all her life. This was the first time in her life that she was staying in a small hotel. She was really not used to it. Compared to Bai Xiaoye, Su Yun had much more life experience. There were even smaller unlicensed hotels in Huaxia. Didn't groups of university students go there? Chapter 11:20. 2 rooms next to each other. Su Yun went up and said to Big White Teeth straightforwardly. Black people were generally very friendly, so Su Yun also went up and said generously. The black man squinted his eyes and nodded. He frowned in confusion, but he quickly made an okay gesture. No problem, no problem. 2 rooms. Come with me. Obviously, in the eyes of this open-minded American, he couldn't understand why a man and a woman would want 2 rooms. However, this was definitely not a bad thing for his business. Opening an extra room meant earning more money. This was such a simple logic that even a kindergarten student, who didn't know how to count, understood. The lights on the stairs were very dim, and they could barely see the steps. The black man didn't have any intention of looking at Su Yun, and by Xiaoya's identification, he took the money and brought them to the rooms upstairs. When they reached the 2nd floor, the black man directly pushed open the doors of the 2 adjacent rooms. These 2 rooms are okay, right? The bathroom has hot water 24 hours a day. You can wash it any time you want. No problem. Su Yun smiled. It was already good enough to have a place to stay. Moreover, he could shower. What else could he ask for? Although Bai Xiaoya was unwilling, reality was cruel. She couldn't afford to be picky, so she could only reluctantly stay. Su Yun entered the room and looked around. He was quite satisfied. Although the conditions weren't good, the bedding and other things looked quite clean. It was much better than the damp and smelly room he had imagined. This put Su Yun in a good mood. At least he could have a good night's sleep. Bai Xiaoya, who was in the room next door, immediately broke down. Before Su Yun could sit down, Bai Xiaoya rushed into his room. How can you stay here? What? Are there cockroaches or rats in your room? Su Yun was stunned. He pointed at the bed in his room and said, This is already not bad. It's quite clean. I'll just make do with it. How can I make do with it? There's no way I can make do with it. Bai Xiaoya's head shook like a rattle drum as she looked at Su Yun's door. Look, your room's lock is also broken. I can't even lock the door. I can't even sleep well, let alone take a bath. Su Yun sighed. How could it be so serious? Bai Xiaoya, you're a super expert. How could you sleep so soundly? She couldn't even feel it when she entered the room. However, he didn't say that out loud. How about this? If you want to take a bath, you can take a bath in my room. I'll guard the door for you. You can rest assured, right? It's already good enough that we have such a place to stay. Don't be so picky. When we return to Huaxia, I'll take you to my 5-star hotel and give you the best room to compensate you. Will that do? Bai Xiaoya shook her head helplessly. So what? She had already been brought here by Su Yun. She had to accept it even if she couldn't. Helpless, Bai Xiaoya could only choose to borrow the bathroom in Su Yun's room. However, what made her even more helpless was that even the bathroom's lock was broken and couldn't lock anyone. Su Yun, I'm warning you. If you dare to come in when I'm taking a bath, I'll definitely kill you. Bai Xiaoya glared at Su Yun fiercely. Su Yun lay down on the bed. I'm already very tired. Don't worry. Even if you give me 1,000,000 yuan, I won't have the energy to sneak in. I'm really not interested in you. You take a bath, and I'll guard the door for you. I'm already being very generous by not charging you a protection fee. Go to hell. Bai Xiaoya snorted. This is what you deserve. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have followed you to this godforsaken place to suffer. A girl will always be a girl. She can't stand the sweat on her body for even a day. Su Yun didn't mind not taking a bath for 2 days. At most, he would smell a little sweaty. This was the smell of a man. Maybe a bunch of ignorant girls would be charmed by it. The sound of running water could be heard in the bathroom. Su Yun closed the door and laid on the bed, preparing to sleep. He wanted to take advantage of the time to sleep. Once things got busy, even sleeping would become a luxury. A black shop was a black shop, just like Sun Ernyang's bun shop in Water Margin. If she didn't kill 2 customers, where would she find human meat to make buns? Downstairs, a black man with big white teeth stood at the entrance of his black hotel with a smile. He held a cigarette in his hand and looked around as if he was waiting for someone. About 10 minutes later, the taxi that had sent Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya here appeared in his sight again. This time, 5 people got out of the car. The white driver was the first to walk up to him. How is it? Have the 2 Asians settled down? They've settled down. They even asked for 2 rooms. Big White Teeth chuckled. Green, the 2 fat lambs you met this time are really not bad, especially that girl. Wow, She's curvy and voluptuous. She's definitely not inferior to the top dancer of the strip club we like to go to the most. The white driver called Green sneered. Can't you think of anything else other than women? Ha ha ha, of course, and money. Big White Teeth said proudly. Green stopped talking nonsense with him and gathered the 4 people behind him. Brothers, these 2 Asians must have been smuggled over from Canada. They don't have passports or documents. When I brought them here, they said their documents were cheated. I said I could send them to their country's embassy, but the man refused. This is definitely not normal. Big White Teeth nodded. Even if a swindler wants to cheat, it would be money. They don't dare to go to the embassy because they're afraid of being repatriated. Ha ha ha, if that's the case, no matter what we do to them, they won't dare to call the police. They committed the crime of illegal immigration. That's right. Green nodded. So, we can do whatever we want to them. All the money they have on them is ours. That woman is also ours. We can play with her however we want. Moreover, such a top-notch woman, if we use her to make money. Ha 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 ha, not to mention $200 per time. Even if we ask for $500 per time, there will definitely be an endless stream of people coming to our door to have a taste. Such a top-notch woman can at least make the Seattle perverts fresh for a whole year. And in this year's time, we can at least make millions with this woman. After a year, we'll be millionaires. Big White Teeth grinned from ear to ear. The only difference between them and the little punks on the streets of Huaxia who stopped at nothing was that they had guns. Most of the little punks in Huaxia didn't have guns. Even if they did, they didn't dare to take them out casually or shoot casually. Green ordered. Let's go up and take them down now. Tonight, let us brothers have a taste of that woman first. Humph humph humph. As for that kid, let's just give him a quick death and find a place to bury him after we're done with him. It doesn't matter if the people with no identity are found. Even if the police find the bodies in the future, they won't investigate too seriously. This was true. Because they didn't have passports, identification, or proof, there was nothing to worry about even if they killed them. This rule definitely emboldened the 6 of them. In addition to Green and Big White Teeth, the other 4 people were also quite distinctive. There was a tattooed man without a shirt, a short man with a plump figure, a man with 17 or 18 earrings on his ears, and a bald white man with a shiny head. Chapter 11:21. In his sleepy state, Su-Yin heard a series of messy footsteps. His sixth sense told him that this was not a good sign. Just as Su-Yin got up and was about to ask Bai Xiaoye if she was done, the door to the room was suddenly pushed open. The boss of the hotel walked in with a provocative smile on his face. He smiled at Su-Yin. Friend, are you used to living here? The conditions aren't very good. Sorry for the inconvenience, huh? Su-Yin sensed that he did not come with good intentions. He frowned slightly. What can I do for you, boss? The sound of running water in the bathroom suddenly stopped. The black taxi driver, Green, walked out from behind Big White Teeth with a sly smile. 2 rooms? What a waste. Since you're already bathing together, why are you still pretending to be innocent? Ha ha ha, is that the pretty girl inside? A shady shop was indeed a shady shop. They were in cahoots with each other. The driver was in cahoots with them from the very beginning. Su-Yin gave them a thumbs up in admiration. Good, you guys are really good. Ha ha ha, the girl must be very lonely bathing alone. Let me help her scrub her back. Big White Teeth's mind was filled with Bai Xiaoye's body. His mouth was wide open from ear to ear as he excitedly rushed to the bathroom. Su-Yin raised his leg, and the slipper next to the bed flew out and landed heavily on Big White Teeth's face. Don't touch that door. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Su-Yin did not look like he was joking at all. Big White Teeth's face was hit by the slipper, and he exploded in anger. This was his hotel. How could he allow a foreigner who illegally entered the country to act so presumptuously? It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know that this is America. In his anger, Big White Teeth took out a gun from behind his waist. Even if he killed the person without an identity in front of him, the country would not convict him. He only needed to say that this person without an identity trespassed on private property, and he had the right to shoot. Seeing that Big White Teeth took out his gun, Soo-Yun did not stay idle. He directly threw the TV remote control. Just as Big White Teeth opened fire, the remote control hit his wrist. Big White Teeth raised his hand, and with a bang, the bullet shattered the simple chandelier on the ceiling. The glass shattered all over the floor. Bai Xiaoya, who was still in the bathroom, felt her head buzzing. She quickly took a towel and wrapped it around herself. Just as Bai Xiaoya wrapped the towel around herself, Green pushed open the bathroom door. He wanted to capture Bai Xiaoya as a hostage. He believed that this way, Soo-Yun would not dare to act recklessly and would be at their mercy. When Soo-Yun saw Green open the door, he didn't have the time to stop him. Because other than Big White Teeth, the other 4 people also had guns in their hands. Handgun, single-barreled shotgun. They didn't care about anything else. They aimed directly at Soo-Yun and fired. Soo-Yun had no choice but to lean over the bed and use both hands to flip the entire bed over. The bullets hit the bed mercilessly. It was not reliable to expect a bed to block bullets. This was not a movie. It was all thanks to the thick mattress that it was able to block the bullets. The bullets rotated when they were shot, so the penetrating power was strong. The thick sponge in the mattress became the best defensive shield to reduce the speed of the bullets. Soo-Yun hid behind the thick mattress and endured the crazy gunfire. Bai Xiaoya had just wrapped herself in a towel. When she saw the taxi driver at the door, she immediately realized that something must have happened. Stupid Soo-Yun. A shady hotel is a shady hotel. How can you stay in a shady hotel? Aren't you asking for trouble? She knew that something might have happened, but she didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Bai Xiaoya's anger was not to be trifled with. She couldn't even rest after taking a bath. The taxi driver didn't even have time to admire the good figure under the towel before his vision turned black. He was kicked in the head by Bai Xiaoya, and he fainted. Bai Xiaoya's appearance directly disrupted the battle. Big White Teeth and the others never expected that the seemingly weak girl was actually a tough woman. She crippled Green with a single kick. Just as they were hesitating, Soo-Yun suddenly appeared in front of them. Before Big White Teeth could react, Soo-Yun quickly took care of the other 4 people. The 4 of them didn't even have the chance to realize what had happened before they fainted. In the end, Soo-Yun grabbed Big White Teeth's neck and nailed him to the wall. The gun in his hand was also knocked to the ground by Soo-Yun. "Grandson, you've got guts." Soo-Yun smiled as he slowly lifted Big White Teeth up. Big White Teeth could definitely be considered as a tanned and fat man. He was at least 200 pounds. However, in Soo-Yun's hands, he was like a little chick. This time, Big White Teeth panicked. He couldn't breathe. The feeling of suffocation was definitely uncomfortable. Big White Teeth hugged Soo-Yun's wrist with both hands and tried to break free, but it was useless. "Are you running a black shop? Are you bullying us because we're illegal immigrants and don't dare to call the police? How many people like this have you blackmailed?" Soo-Yun spat. "Let me tell you, those who came here illegally must have their difficulties. You're hitting them when they're down. Do you understand?" Bai Xiaoya quickly returned to the bathroom and put on her clothes. She walked out and said to Soo-Yun, "Why are you talking nonsense with him? Such a loud gunshot will definitely alarm the police. If you don't want to explain to the police, then hurry up and take me away from here." Soo-Yun really wanted to teach this black guy a lesson, but Bai Xiaoya was right. It would be troublesome if the police came. His identity was too special. He was probably already in the American Intelligence Agency's files. "Don't let me see you again in the future." After Soo-Yun finished speaking, he grabbed Big White Teeth and slammed him into the wall. The back of Big White Teeth's head hit the wall with a bang, and he fainted immediately. Anyway, these guys weren't good people. The police would teach them a lesson when they came. Soo-Yun didn't hesitate and quickly followed Bai Xiaoya out of the black shop. Sigh. I originally wanted to have a good sleep and have a good dream, but it became a luxurious fantasy again. Sure enough, after they ran a few hundred meters out of the black shop, they heard the police sirens. They rushed to the scene of the incident. The sound of gunshots in the middle of the night was too eye-catching. Soo-Yun and Bai Xiaoya sped up. After running a few streets, they could finally catch their breath. The American people were really friendly. They had only been in the United States for less than 2 hours, and they were already giving them a show of strength. It was late at night, and there was no one on the road. The two of them sat on the side of the road. It seemed like they would really have to sleep on the streets tonight. The jet lag gave Bai Xiaoya a headache. She really wanted to tear Su Yin apart. It's all this guy's fault. Do you know what I want to do the most right now? Bai Xiaoya said angrily. I really want to split you in half. Just as the two of them were feeling helpless, a car's headlights shone over. A private car slowly stopped beside them. However, this time, Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya weren't as excited as before. Who knew if this was another small group of scammers? The car window rolled down, and a woman waved at the two of them. She asked tentatively in Chinese, Are you Huaxia people? F***CK, we actually met Chinese people. Su Yin jumped up excitedly. Big sister, we are Huaxia people. It's not easy for us now. Can you help us and take us in for one night? We really have nowhere to go. We just met a bad guy and lost all our documents. Big sister, look at my eyes. I don't look like a bad guy at all. The woman in the car smiled. We are all Huaxia people. It's normal for us to help each other when we are outside. Get in the car. Chapter 11:22. The kind and beautiful woman who was driving was called Shirsi. She was 3 years older than Su Yin. She drove Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya all the way to her house. Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya were so touched that they called her big sister Cici. If it weren't for Shirsi, Su Yin would have to let Bai Xiaoya down and let her stay by the side of the road for the night. You two can stay at my place today. Anyway, I'm the only one in such a big house. It's quite boring, Shirsi said. Her house was indeed big enough. It had 2 floors and 8 bedrooms. I don't need to say it. As for how you came here, I won't ask. I just want to help you since you're all from Huaxia. Su Yin and Yi Xiaobai stared blankly for a moment. Indeed, no one was an idiot. Everyone could see the situation clearly. After all, this town was close to the American-Canadian border. Every year, there would be an uncountable number of illegal immigrants. But I can only let you stay for one night. I don't want to cause trouble for myself, Shirsi said as she subconsciously touched her belly. Bai Xiaoya widened her eyes in surprise. Big sister Cici, could it be that you're pregnant? Shirsi nodded happily, but more or less sighed helplessly. Big sister Cici, you're already pregnant. Why are you driving out so late? Where's my brother-in-law? Su Yun's words were so intimate that Bai Xiaoya almost spat out the word brother-in-law. Shirsi was also amused by Su Yun's words. He's in Huaxia and can't come. He has a family, a wife, and a child. In everyone's eyes, I'm just his woman outside. Therefore, the child can't be born in the country. But I really don't want to take this innocent little life. Haha. But I love him. I love him and my child. Shirsi smiled bitterly and looked up at Bai Xiaoya. Do you think that I'm just a mistress, a slut? How can I have the face to say such things here? Bai Xiaoya was speechless, and could only shake her head repeatedly. Su Yin was quite surprised, because this woman didn't have the spirit of a mistress. Whether it was her face or her various actions, Shirsi was definitely a kind woman. But how could such a woman do something that would destroy someone else's family? That grandson must have lied to you, right? Su Yin said coldly. The brother-in-law that he had been referring to just a second ago had suddenly become grandson. Shirsi looked at Su Yin in surprise, but she didn't say anything. Su Yin naturally understood this logic. Sister Cici, tell me what that bastard's name is, where he is, and what he does. I'll return to Huaxia once I'm done with my business in America. When I return, I'll definitely help you teach that bastard a lesson. No, don't. Shirsi shook her head repeatedly. After a pause, Shirsi looked at Su Yin and Bai Xiaoya in disbelief. You won't look down on me because I'm just a mistress? Sister Shirsi, don't talk about yourself like that. Bai Xiaoya had a good impression of this kind sister who had saved her in the middle of the night. Those women who know that someone has a family but still want to destroy it are the bad ones. You're so kind. I also believe that you must have been deceived. If you knew that he had a family, you definitely wouldn't have done something like that. Shirsi smiled bitterly and shook her head. It doesn't matter if I knew or not, I still did something like that, and even if I knew now, I feel like I can't leave him." As she spoke, tears actually fell from Shirsi's eyes. "I can't leave him. I can't not want this child." Shirsi's heart ached. Su-yin knew that as a man, it wasn't appropriate for him to say anything in this situation. So he let Bai Xiaoya follow Shirsi to her room to comfort her. There were indeed a considerable number of girls who had become the playthings of married men because of their naivety. Although there were still many good people in the world, there were also scumbags everywhere. Not everyone could be educated well after birth. One had to understand that one had to be wary of others and not have the heart to harm others. There were too many people who weren't educated well when they were young and became scourges of society when they grew up. Bai Xiaoya directly accompanied Shirsi in her room at night. When Shirsi fell asleep, she also fell asleep. Now, she especially sympathized with Shirsi. She understood that Shirsi truly loved that man. Her family had a family business and was much wealthier than that man. Ever since she got pregnant, her family felt that she had embarrassed the Shir family and chased her out. That man, on the other hand, had disappeared. Shirsi had no choice but to fly thousands of miles to the United States to give birth. This was all caused by watching Beijing meet Seattle. However, she didn't have to be so pitiful and didn't need to share a house with others. The money in her card was enough for her to buy a house in this city and wait for her child to be born without any worries. She still naively thought that once the child was born, everything would be fine. This little life would bring her luck and change everything. What could Bai Xiaoya say? She couldn't possibly say that it was wishful thinking on her part. She couldn't tell her that even if the child was born, it would be a burden and wouldn't change anything. If she said that, Shirsi wouldn't be able to take it and would get into trouble. Bai Xiaoya couldn't bear to say such realistic words to such a kind-hearted sister. However, Bai Xiaoya still believed that everything in the world had a karmic cycle. If you worked hard, you would definitely gain something. If you were kind, you would definitely be rewarded. Of course, some people didn't think so. They said that there was nothing definite in the world. However, you had to admit that if you didn't work hard, you would definitely gain nothing and live your life like a walking corpse. If you did evil, you might be glorious for a while, but in the end, you would definitely be despised by everyone. Sometimes, it wasn't that retribution didn't come, but that it wasn't time yet. No matter what, Su-yin and Bai Xiaoya finally had a place to stay for the night. They could sleep for a while and recover from the jet lag, allowing their mental and physical strength to catch a breather. Once there was news about Matthew, Su-yin had to deal with it immediately. For some reason, Su-yin slept very soundly that night. Perhaps it was because Sister Shirsi looked too kind. What made Su-yin even more touched was that when he and Bai Xiaoya woke up, Shirsi had already made fried eggs, toast, and warm milk for them. This feeling was as warm as it could get. It caused Su-yin to have an illusion that Ruan Qingshuang was just so gentle and attentive. Seeing the hot breakfast, Su-yin missed them. He really hoped that he could help Gu Qia save her father and rush back to Qingdao. That way, he could drink the bird's nest porridge that Ruan Qingshuang personally cooked for him before going to bed at night. If a man didn't have a gentle and attentive woman by his side, his life would be very boring. No wonder since ancient times, men had to marry. In the old society, rich men could still marry more concubines. It must be because the newer the concubine, the gentler and more attentive she was. TSK, TSK, TSK. After breakfast, Shirsi asked them to leave. It's not that I don't want you to stay, but I don't want to get into trouble and implicate the child in my stomach. Sister Cece, thank you. Bai Xiaoya went forward and carefully hugged Shirsi. Chapter 11:23. Although the encounter last night was still quite embarrassing, Su-yin received good news as soon as he left Sister Shirsi's house. Celine called and said that they had helped him find Gu Qia. She was looking for help from her old connections in Vancouver, hoping to find someone to help her solve the matter of her father's abduction. Of course, it was impossible for her to find someone who could help her in this kind of matter. It was not that those old connections in the circle were not loyal or disloyal, but that they really did not have the ability. Everyone knew very well that Gu Guolong's disappearance was caused by the CIA agents. Who could afford to provoke those CIA agents? Who dared to provoke them? Even Rhodes and Levine of the Dark Angels wanted to take a detour, let alone the circle that had been scattered. Now, all the Chinese in Vancouver knew that whoever had connections with the circle was likely to get into trouble. Ever since Gu Guolong's disappearance, the few elders of the circle who had made the biggest fuss about looking for Gu Guolong had all died unnatural deaths. They either died in car accidents or gas explosions in their homes, although all of this seemed to be an accident. Once these accidents were connected one after another, who would dare to say that it was an accident? If it was really an accident, these accidents were too coincidental. Why did they all happen to the people in charge of the circle? Now that the circle was leaderless, their lives would be in danger if they did not stay away. Humans were selfish animals, and no one wanted to die tragically for no reason. Gu Qia's appearance was good news for the circle that was in a state of disunity, but in this case, no one dared to stand up to help her. Helping her meant that they had one foot in the door of hell. If there was really a reward for dying, it would be a worthy death. However, everyone understood that even if they died, there would be no result. It would be a complete waste of time. Under such circumstances, no one would treat their own life as a joke. Even if he was a loyal person, even if he wasn't afraid of death, he should die in a meaningful way and not lose his life for nothing. Gu Qia could not find anyone to help her. Celine told Su Yun to rest assured that she had arranged for the Dark Angels to protect her in secret. If she did not do anything out of line, the Dark Angels would always arrange for people to protect her in secret. After all, the relationship between the Dark Angels and the Big Circle was somewhat sensitive. However, if Gu Qia wanted to do anything dangerous, Celine had promised Su Yun that she would stop her immediately. Even if she had to kidnap Gu Qia back to her house, she would definitely do it. He would absolutely guarantee that nothing would happen to Gu Qia, let alone let her take a single step out of Vancouver alone. He would let Su Yun do his own thing in peace. With Celine's words, Su Yun was truly relieved. As long as Gu Qia had the protection of the Dark Angel in Vancouver, she would not be in great danger. If she did not show up in the United States, the Americans would not know that she had returned. The Japanese must have received orders from the Americans to attack Gu Qia's ship at sea. Although Gu Qia had been rescued by Su Yun from the Japanese, the ship had sunk. And Pei would not be stupid enough to tell the Americans the truth. He would definitely tell the Americans that the ship had sunk and Gu Qia had died. This kind of thing could not be verified at sea. Moreover, the Americans were certain that the ship had sunk. Gu Qia, please don't do anything out of line and cause trouble for me. Su Yun only had this little wish now. After thanking Celine and hanging up the phone, Su Yun was in a good mood. At least he had solved a big problem. Where should we go next? Ever since Bai Xiaoya came out with Su Yun, she did not even dare to turn on her phone. She was afraid that her master would call and scold her. She had been busy yesterday, so she did not have time to think about these things. Now that she suddenly had some free time, Bai Xiaoya started to be afraid of what she had done. Bai Xiaoya shuddered from the bottom of her heart at the thought of her master's rage. I don't know. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Let's wait for the news. At least find a place to stay. Bai Xiaoya sighed. If we wait like this, we will have to sleep on the streets again at night. Su Yun pondered. Why don't we go to Los Angeles to watch a basketball game? The NBA is still in the off-season. The stars are all on summer vacation. Who do you want to watch? Street basketball? Bai Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Su Yun. Hurry up and think of a reliable idea. Aren't you making things difficult for me? Su Yun had a headache. Where should I go? Should I go to New York to participate in a talent show? Get a gold award for singing Little Apple? Just then Su Yun's phone rang again. He thought it was Celine calling to ask if they needed help. However, when he looked at the caller ID, it was Wan Guangxiao. Aya, this international roaming is so expensive that it hurts my heart. Chief, what can I do for you? Su Yun picked up the phone and asked. If it's a meeting, I really can't go. I'm too far away. I can't make it. I know you're far away. Where did you go? Wan Guangxiao asked seriously. Su Yun pouted. I crossed the Pacific Ocean. Wan Guangxiao's voice was obviously somewhat helpless. I say you Why are you so unreliable? Why did you run so far away? How can I be fine? Su-yin felt wronged. If he was really fine, why would he fly across the Pacific Ocean like an idiot? Now he couldn't even stay in a hotel. Wasn't he looking for trouble? Okay, you don't have to explain anything to me. I just want to ask you something. Did you go alone? Wan Guangxiao asked. Su-yin was stunned for a moment. Chief, does it matter if I answer this question or not? It was because he was afraid that Wan Guangxiao would question him that Su-yin didn't dare to bring out the people from the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. Of course it matters. Wan Guangxiao sounded even more serious. Chief, I swear, I really didn't bring any of my brothers out. Su-yin. Did those bastards sneak out? Wan Guangxiao's voice was filled with helplessness. Those bastards are much more obedient than a wolf cub like you. Don't play dumb. I want to ask you if there's someone beside you. You know what I mean. Chief, you're asking the obvious. Su-yin laughed. I did come out with a friend, but you don't know her. It has nothing to do with you, right? How can it have nothing to do with you? Did you kidnap Bai Xiaoya? Wan Guangxiao's words really confused Su-yin. What the F***ck? How did the head captain know that there was another Bai Xiaoya? Was she, Bai Xiaoya, that famous? Chief, are you a satellite eye? Su-yin said weakly. How did you know? Do you know Bai Xiaoya? Wait, let me ask her. Su-yin turned to look at Bai Xiaoya. Do you know our boss? Wan Guangxiao, the one who likes to keep a straight face. How can I know someone from your team? You must be joking. Bai Xiaoya was also very puzzled. How could the chief know her? Did your chief guess her name randomly? That's right. That's right. If he could guess it so accurately, he wasn't human but a god. Wan Guangxiao was completely helpless. He heard Bai Xiaoya's voice and said helplessly, Su-yin, pass the phone to Xiaoya. Her master is with me. F***ck. Chapter 1124. Even before Bai Xiaoya heard her master's voice, her calves were already trembling. As expected of Zuolengyue, Su-yin sighed in his heart. Even their chief, Wan Guangxiao, seemed to give her face. Once a person reached a certain level, they would have enough face. Su-yin. Zuolengyue's voice suddenly came from the phone, startling Su-yin and Bai Xiaoya. For Bai Xiaoya, this was a real breakdown. She wanted to cry, but had no tears. Elder sister, you are really not simple. Su-yin smiled guiltily. However, these words were from the bottom of his heart. Zuolengyue was really not simple. How could she be so sure that Bai Xiaoya followed him out? How could she be so valiant as to directly find him at Wan Guangxiao's place? You are not simple either, Zuolengyue said angrily. From her voice, Su-yin could hear a kind of entanglement and difficulty. This feeling of struggle made Zuolengyue want to vent her anger at Su-yin, but she couldn't. Su-yin smiled awkwardly. He really didn't want to kidnap Bai Xiaoya. She really sneaked into the car and insisted on following him. However, in this situation, if he were to tell the truth, it would be too impolite. It would be equivalent to betraying Bai Xiaoya. Bai Xiaoya was definitely more afraid of her master's scolding than him. If Zuolengyue knew that Bai Xiaoya was the one who shamelessly followed Su-yin out, then Bai Xiaoya's ending would be even more tragic. Even if Su-yin didn't say anything now, Bai Xiaoya was already looking at Su-yin with pleading eyes. She really hoped that Su-yin would say a few good words for her, but she also understood that even if Su-yin said a few good words for her, her master would still be angry. Elder sister, please don't blame Xiaoya for this. Su-yin suddenly apologized to Zuolengyue on the other side of the phone. It's all my fault, please forgive me. But I promise that I'll bring Bai Xiaoya back safe and sound. Please rest assured. How can I not worry? You're a man and a woman alone together, and you're both at the age of puberty. I've been there, I know that kind of uncontrollable emotion. Zuolengyue sternly said. Su-yin, tell me the truth. Did you touch Xiao Yi or not? F***ck. Su-yun's mind went blank. What was the first awakening of love? He had been awakening of love for many years. 10 years ago, he knew that he would feel happy when he was with Yumarin. That was the first awakening of love. Now he had even rolled in the sheets. What was the first awakening of love? However, Bai Xiaoye might really be a beginner. Otherwise, why would her master be so worried that she would be at a disadvantage against Su Yun? TSK, was there a need for that? Su Yun thought, I'm not a villain who won't stop at nothing. I'm handsome, elegant and charming. It's not a big deal for a girl who has just awakened of love to have some endless admiration for me. Even if Bai Xiaoye couldn't restrain herself, Su Yun was an experienced man. He would definitely be able to restrain himself. Moreover, Bai Xiaoye had been trained by Zhuo Lingyue to be so chaste. Even if Su Yun wanted to destroy her, Bai Xiaoye wouldn't easily fall into his trap. Not to mention that Su Yun was out on a business trip. He didn't have the time or mood to flirt with girls. Elder sister, you don't trust me. Do I look like that kind of person? Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Like father, like son. Zhuo Lingyue threw this sentence at Su Yun, and he didn't know how to reply for a long time. Bai Xiaoye nervously listened to their conversation. She was really afraid that Su Yun and her master would start arguing over the phone. What should she do then? Who should she side with? After being stunned for a while, Su Yun slowly opened his mouth. Elder sister, there's no need for that. You're attacking my old man. But it's fine. You can say whatever you want. Anyway, I've never seen him before. You can scold him as much as you want. However, I feel that I'm much better than my unreliable old man. At least I didn't leave a seed in the world. I just ran away and didn't even care about it. That old man is 2F** king irresponsible. Ha ha ha. Even Bai Xiaoye could hear that Su Yun's laughter was especially awkward. No matter what, that was his old man. Even if he was irresponsible and hadn't even seen him before, he couldn't say that. It was somewhat disgraceful. However, thinking about it carefully, how lucky could Bai Xiaoye be? Wasn't she also a child who hadn't seen her parents since she was young? On the other end of the phone, Zhuo Lingyue was silent for a long time. Finally, she slowly said, Su Yun, pass the phone to Xiaoye. I have something to say to her. Okay. Su Yun nodded and passed the phone to Bai Xiaoye. Your master wants to talk to you alone. Bai Xiaoye's face changed when she heard this. She hurriedly pointed at her mouth at Su Yun, and then shook her head vigorously. She didn't dare to take the phone. She was already scared to death when she leaned in to listen to the conversation. How could she dare to talk to her master now? Su Yun directly turned on the speaker and stuffed the phone into Bai Xiaoye's hand. Since it had already happened, running away wouldn't solve the problem. If he wanted to solve the problem, he had to face it. It was just a small matter. He could just explain it clearly. Bai Xiaoye pulled a long face and had no choice but to say weakly, Master, I'm sorry. Zhuo Lingyue was obviously silent for a while before she choked with sobs. Xiaoye, I'm sorry, damn. The Empress can even speak with a sobbing tone. Su Yun's eyes widened. He definitely wouldn't dare to believe this even if he was beaten to death. Even Bai Xiaoye was dumbfounded. She had been by her master's side for so many years, but she had never seen her master like this. Wan Guangxiao's helpless persuasion could be faintly heard over the phone. Don't cry, Lingyue. Control your emotions. Some things should have passed long ago. Why don't you say those things that you've been suppressing in your heart? If this goes on, you will only make it harder for yourself to face Xiaoye. What's wrong with Master? Bai Xiaoye's face was filled with doubts and uneasiness. This inexplicable uneasiness made her heart beat faster and faster. What exactly is Zhuo Lingyue hiding in her heart? Even Su Yun couldn't help but be curious. The Empress actually has thoughts that she can't tell her disciple? Master, Xiaoye knows she was wrong. Please forgive me. Bai Xiaoye said with a sobbing tone. In the future, I will never disobey your orders or do such things again. Please give me a chance. Zhuo Lingyue seemed to have finally controlled her emotions. She slowly said, Xiaoye, you didn't do anything wrong. I was the one at fault. I didn't make some things clear. Master, I know you're doing this for my own good. I really came out this time to help Su Yun. We're friends, and he needs my help. I really can't leave him in the lurch. Bai Xiaoye said, Master, please forgive me. If you don't want me to stay here to help him, I'll listen to you and go back now. Zhuo Lingyue said, I'm not saying that I don't want you to help Su-yun. I'm very gratified that you can help him. But Master is worried that you will fall in love with him. Chapter 11:25. Bai Xiaoye was startled. Why? Promise Master that you won't fall in love with Su-yun, Zhuo Lingyue insisted. I promise Master. I'll agree to anything you say. Su-yun couldn't understand Bai Xiaoye's obedience. After all, Su-yun was a man. At this time he felt embarrassed. Sister, you don't worry. I, Su-yun, am not that kind of person. Even if you don't like me, you don't have to say that in front of our chief. Xiaoye is a good girl. I treat her like a little sister. I swear, I'm not as dangerous as you think. I won't touch her at all. If anyone dares to have any ideas about her, I'll look after her for you. If Bai Xiaoye loses a single strand of hair, I won't say a word even if you skin me alive. Little brat, what do you know? Don't interrupt when an adult is lecturing. Wan Guangxiao's words faintly came from the phone. Obviously, it wasn't difficult for him to hear the voice on the other side of the phone. After being scolded by the chief, Su-yun became more well-behaved. Forget it, forget it. Let the master and disciple be sentimental. He might as well go find a place to buy 2 cups of coffee to refresh himself. Su-yun, I'm very pleased that you can say that. Zhuo Lingyue suddenly said. You must treat Xiaoye as a little sister because she really is your little sister. What the hell? Bai Xiaoye's mind buzzed, and it instantly went blank. Su-yun was also shocked speechless by these words. What was the meaning of this? What's going on? Su-yun and Bai Xiaoye's eyes met. They couldn't help but admit that the other person's expression was so familiar. For a moment, they felt as if they were looking into a mirror. Although there were differences between men and women, there was a phrase called resemblance. The resemblance in resemblance was more intimate than the resemblance in appearance. No wonder Bai Xiaoye disguised herself as Su-yun to donate those national treasures. Even Su-yun was shocked at first sight and couldn't believe it. Appearance could be disguised, but it was unthinkable for one's expression to be so similar. Sister Yu, please don't joke around. Su-yun was the same as Bai Xiaoye. He couldn't believe it. If I have a little sister, how could I not know? Even if my father is a jerk, I believe that he won't separate us. Moreover, my mother died after I was born. It's impossible for me to have a little sister. Sister Yu, you're joking around. Although Su-yun said that Zhuo Lingyue was joking with him, deep in his heart, he had already begun to believe this fact. That's right. I don't know. Zhuo Lingyue knew that the two of them wouldn't be able to accept her words. She had never thought of saying it. However, she was worried. She was really worried that Bai Xiaoye, who was in love for the first time, would have that kind of relationship with Su-yun. She wouldn't be able to forgive herself for the rest of her life. Therefore, Zhuo Lingyue decided to let them know the truth. Even if it was over the phone and she couldn't explain it clearly, she still had to let them know. Back then, your father gave you to Zhang Jianji because he wanted to be with me. I couldn't accept that I had to raise another woman's child in my most beautiful years. Zhuo Lingyue was deeply hurt when she said this. On the other end of the phone, Wan Guangxiao was also silent. He seemed to know the truth of this matter. Su-yun's brows were knitted tighter and tighter. Su-yun, I'm sorry. Your father is also sorry, Zhuo Lingyue said. Zhuo Lingyue said, back then he placed you in Zhang Jinji's place so that you could be with me. Zhuo Lingyue stopped joking. Su-yun's voice became serious. He wasn't as respectful to Zhuo Lingyue as before. Even if you're the empress, don't blame me for being impolite if you continue to talk nonsense. Zhuo Lingyue laughed helplessly. I know you don't believe it. Even I don't want to believe it. But it's the truth. You may fight for your mother, but who will fight for me? Your father was originally a romantic and elegant man. His charm was something that no girl could resist. Master, what do you mean? Bai Xiaoye was already getting agitated. Xiaoye, I know what you want to say. That's right. You're the child of Su-yun's father and mine. Zhuo Lingyue said. Before you were born, he was already missing. Later, I found out that he went to a place where he would never be able to come out. Bai Xiaoya's mind was still blank. She felt muddle-headed, as if she was experiencing a nightmare. I don't want you to know the truth. I'm afraid you'll be hurt. Zhuo Lingyue said. You were born during the day. That day the Xiaoya red sandalwood in our house bloomed, so I named you Bai Xiaoya. I hope you'll forget everything and treat you as my adopted child. Are you afraid I'll be hurt, or are you afraid you'll be hurt? Bai Xiaoya suddenly screamed hysterically. No one could understand this kind of venting. She lived by her mother's side for more than 20 years, but she didn't know that this person was her mother. This kind of deception was completely unacceptable to Bai Xiaoya. If possible, Zhuo Lingyue wanted to continue lying for the rest of her life. She knew very well that once she made the decision to lie, she could only continue to use lies to cover up the previous ones. Then, she would use new lies to cover up the new ones. If this cycle continued, she would never dare to speak the truth. She was forced to say all this now because she had no other choice. She really didn't dare to imagine how regretful she would be if her lie caused the brother and sister to develop feelings for each other, and something between a man and a woman happened between them. Therefore, even though she knew that telling the truth would cause Bai Xiaoya to break down, she still had to say it. When they were young, there were many people in their circle who knew that Zhuo Lingyue was pregnant with that person's child. Zhang Yizhi knew, Wan Guangxiao knew, Lin Ji's old man, Lu Xuanji, and the others all knew. However, this secret had always been suppressed by Zhuo Lingyue. No one had ever mentioned to Su Yun that he had a half-sister from a different mother. Xiaoya, please tell me your master. No, your mother. When Zhuo Lingyue suddenly said these two words, she realized that the word mother was much warmer than the word master. For her, it was so, let alone for a child. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Bai Xiaoya got up and ran away. After all, she had never suffered such a big blow before. Su Yun picked up the phone and smiled calmly. It was impossible to say that he wasn't shocked. However, Su Yun's ability to adjust himself had long been tempered through so many years of life and death situations. Sister Yu. Oh no, I should call you little mother. Right? I've lived for so long, but today's matter has given me a headache. Su Yun, I beg you. You must help me look after Xiaoya. Where are you? I'll go and find you now. Zhuo Lingyue was a feared female empress in the underground world. Even Wan Guangxiao had to give face to her. Yet, she actually begged Su Yun in such a servile manner. This was simply a fantasy. Su Yun grinned. It's better if you don't come. You will only make things worse. Since I know that she's my sister, I will definitely take good care of her. You. Auntie, if my father is still alive and you can still contact him, you must remember to help me pass a message to him. Ask him to greet that old bastard. Tell him that when his son grows up, he will definitely not do such a thing. Chapter 11:26. After hanging up the phone, Zhuo Lingyue felt as though her heart was being stabbed by a sharp knife. This woman, who was revered by everyone in the underground world, couldn't help but tear up. Even Wan Guangxiao didn't dare to believe that Zhuo Lingyue would have such a reaction. Zhuo Lingyue, I didn't expect you to be a sentimental person. Wan Guangxiao sighed in his heart. Back then, when Zhuo Lingyue was pregnant with Bai Xiaoya, many people knew about it. Old topsy-turvy Wu Qiuzi, shadowless godly thief, Taisui Zhangjiaji, and the other sworn brothers all knew about it. After Su Yun's father got into trouble, they naturally wanted to care about Zhuo Lingyue. It wasn't because she was powerful enough to be called the empress, but because of her relationship with Su Yun's father. Also because of Su Yun's father's prestige. It was natural for his wife to be taken care of by his brothers in the underworld when she was pregnant. However, Zhuo Lingyue rejected all good intentions. She gave birth to the child, but she didn't allow anyone to visit her. She directly disappeared from everyone's sight. After a few years, Zhuo Lingyue reappeared in Huaxia's underground world with a little disciple, Bai Xiaoya, whom she claimed to have adopted. However, people with discerning eyes could see that Zhuo Lingyue was just deceiving herself. Everyone knew that Bai Xiaoya was her flesh and blood. Since she insisted on denying it, Outsiders couldn't say anything. Moreover, her man probably wouldn't have the chance to come back. The only thing that everyone felt was a pity was that Su Yin and his half-sister, who shared the same father but had a different mother, might be separated forever. However, fate made fools of people. Although some people seemed to be on two parallel lines that would never intersect, they would still collide due to some unexpected events. Zhuo Lingyue had always hoped to hide this truth forever, but she didn't expect that Bai Xiaoye would still meet Su Yin in Pan Garden. Perhaps this was the arrangement of fate. Some things could never be changed. Lingyue. Wan Guangxiao wasn't the kind of person who knew how to comfort others. Don't worry. With Su Yin around, Xiaoye will be fine. How could he be fine? How unqualified am I to be a mother? Hee. Zhuo Lingyue forced a smile. How much do I regret my decision at that time? How selfish I was. How impulsive I was to lie. I've kept it in my heart for more than 20 years. How much do I fear that the lie would be exposed one day? Letting out a sigh, Zhuo Lingyue continued. But paper can't wrap fire. It's a lie, and it will be exposed sooner or later. Some lies are well-intentioned. Wan Guangxiao said indifferently. I understand why you did that at that time. You were worried that you wouldn't be able to face your daughter asking you where her father went in the future. Sigh, life is unpredictable. If something happens, there will be a way to get through it. Don't worry, I believe that his son is strong, and so is his daughter. Zhuo Lingyue quickly put away her worried look and put on the frightening coldness on her face again. It's good to know that they are all right. Thanks. It's nothing. You don't have to be so courteous with me. We've been friends for so many years. Wan Guangxiao smiled. Zhuo Lingyue looked at Wan Guangxiao and said, If you still treat me as an old friend, then do me a favor. Xiaoye has been working by my side since she was young. She doesn't have the experience of dealing with things alone. I'll leave their safety to you. Wan Guangxiao forced a smile. He also didn't know where that little brat Su Yin went. Don't worry, Su Yin is very experienced. He won't let his sister suffer. Su Yin chased after Bai Xiaoye for a long time before he finally caught up with her. Bai Xiaoye had nowhere to vent her anger, so she could only use this method. I know it's hard to accept, Su Yin said. I also find it hard to accept. My head is still buzzing. What's so hard to accept? My master told me that she's my mother. How can I accept it? Bai Xiaoye's emotions were very unstable. When I was young, I asked her why I don't have a mother. She said that my mother is dead. Why did she do this to me? Why? Why did she say that I don't have a mother when she's clearly my mother? Su Yin tried to calm her down. No matter what, at least she's always by your side. What she did was wrong and was a jerk, but she must have her difficulties. We can understand each other's problems. Don't push yourself too hard. This will only embarrass everyone. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I don't have a mother. I didn't have one when I was young, and I don't have one now. I'm just saying it out of anger. I'm just saying it. Su Yin said. Actually, after the shock, I'm quite glad. I'm glad that I have a biological sister. You. Bai Xiaoye wasn't as magnanimous as Su Yin. She really couldn't accept this brother of hers for the time being. Su Yin smiled. If you want to talk about anger, I should be angrier, right? Our dad gave birth to me and threw me to a friend. Then he went to enjoy his two-person world with your mom. He. I don't know where he went until now. I haven't even seen him once. He's not a thing. But I'm not angry, right? Perhaps only Su Yin himself knew the bitterness in his smile. Bai Xiaoye opened her mouth in shock. How magnanimous was he? If she were in Su Yan's shoes, wouldn't she break down even more now? That's right. It's not their fault. It's their fault for having an unreliable father. Some things are destined. We can't change them. Su Yin said. Even if you suddenly learn an unchangeable truth one day and can't accept it, you have to learn how to accept it. Then you must learn to accept it, learn to endure it, and learn to adapt. Bai Xiaoye didn't say anything. She just lowered her head. These words sounded simple, but she couldn't accept them from the bottom of her heart. Time can wash everything away, Su Yin said. Everything will get better slowly. You're really my brother? Bai Xiaoya looked up at Su Yun. Humph, this guy who looks like a jerk is actually my brother. Thinking about it carefully, there's an inexplicable sense of closeness. When Bai Xiaoya first came into contact with Su Yun, she really hated him. However, as time passed, she found that Su Yun had an inexplicable sense of security and trust. This feeling was definitely not the kind of infatuation. Could this be the power of blood? Let's do a blood test? Su Yun raised a finger. Bai Xiaoya was amused. There's no scientific basis for this. How can you believe this? It's a little unreliable, but the blood test has always been a standard since the Three Kingdoms era. No one has ever doubted it. Su Yun said, since we're modern people, let's do a DNA test when we go back. Why? A paternity test? We're siblings. Are you mistaken? Bai Xiaoya really admired Su Yun. If we're going to do it, I'm going to do it with her. Su Yun obviously knew that the her Bai Xiaoya was talking about was Zhuo Lingyue. Do you think she's joking with you? Did she use this lie because she's afraid that you and I... Bah, aren't you ashamed? If it's true, I'm your sister. You have to watch your words in front of me. Bai Xiaoya said angrily. So what if I'm your sister? You're not a child anymore. You're already an adult. Forget it. Regardless of whether it's true or not, I've already acknowledged you as my sister. This is fate. Su Yun, what do you think? It's good to acknowledge you as my sister. Then treat me to a drink. Bai Xiaoya really needed alcohol to numb herself. Su Yun glanced at the sun in the sky and the shadow under his feet. It's only 10 in the morning, so it's a little inappropriate to drink. Then let's continue walking. If we see a bar that's open, I'll treat you to a drink. Chapter 1127. Su Yun didn't expect that there would be bars that opened early in the morning just across the Pacific Ocean. He really didn't understand why Americans liked drinking so much. There were so many more bars than hotels on the roadside. Were there so few people who wanted to get a room? It was really incomprehensible. But thinking about it carefully, after all, the country was open-minded. Even the dormitories in the school were mixed. The time it took to get a room would be done in the dormitory. Also, Americans liked big cars. Pickup trucks were everywhere on the streets. It was convenient to shake a car. Perhaps it was because of this that the small hotel industry here was not very developed. The reason why the bars were so developed was much simpler. Even unemployed people could receive a minimum wage. The more idle and lazy a person was, the more they liked to drink and smoke. Of course, smoking was not smoking. It was smoking marijuana. Marijuana was relatively easy to get in American bars. Getting marijuana here was different from Huaxia. The people in Huaxia were very poor. They were basically struggling to survive. Those who had a house to live in, a car to drive, and 2 savings were considered well-off families. How could they have the spare money to smoke marijuana? Those who could afford to smoke marijuana had to have at least $2, right? At the very least, it was easy to get money like gangsters, or those in the entertainment industry who could get money easily. Otherwise, it was the nouveau riche who didn't know what money was. It was different in America. It was very easy for high school students to get their hands on marijuana. After class, they would run to the toilet to smoke marijuana, just like Huaxia high school students. Therefore, even the poor in the United States still had ways to buy marijuana. They still had the money to spare. If they could even afford to smoke marijuana, they couldn't afford to drink alcohol. Some lazy drunkards even went to bars early in the morning and drank until late at night before going home to sleep drunk. Although Bai Xiaoya was amused by Su Yun on the surface, she was annoyed. She pushed open the door of a small bar and walked in. Su Yun had no choice but to follow her in. He didn't really care about the money in his pocket, but he was worried that Bai Xiaoya would drink this kind of alcohol to drown her sorrows. Using alcohol to drown one's sorrows would only make one more sorrowful. This was definitely a famous saying. Su Yun had personally experienced it. He was very sure of this point. The more troublesome things one encountered, the easier it was to get drunk. However, the more troublesome things were, the more people liked to use alcohol to numb themselves. It was as if this kind of anesthesia could temporarily make people forget the depression and irritation in their hearts. However, he forgot that this was only a temporary solution to his annoyance. Whiskey for two. Bai Xiaoya sat down at the counter and knocked on it. The owner of the bar was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 50s. His beard was very long and a little white. He quickly placed 2 glasses in front of Su Yun and Bai Xiaoya and skillfully poured about half a liter of wine into each glass. Then he took out an ice bucket and placed it in front of the two, indicating that if they wanted to add ice, they could help themselves. Bai Xiaoya didn't wait for Su Yun to sit down and drank the whiskey in one gulp. It was too easy to drink one sip at a time. "Boss, can you pour more?" Bai Xiaoya asked. "You said it was for 2. The middle-aged bar owner tilted his head and shrugged. "Just pour half a glass?" "Fill it up," Bai Xiaoya said. A 250 milliliter whiskey glass only filled half a liter to the brim. The bar owner smiled. He could tell that this Asian girl was thinking about something. He poured a full glass for Bai Xiaoya. "Don't drink so much." Su Yun didn't know Bai Xiaoya's alcohol tolerance and didn't dare to let her drink too much. He didn't know what to do if she drank too much. Don't force yourself if you can't drink. After saying that, Su Yun also drank the wine in his cup in one gulp. The bar owner stood opposite of Su Yun with the bottle and raised his eyebrows. He seemed to be asking if he wanted to fill it up too. Su Yun was even more direct. "Just give me the bottle. I've never sold a whole bottle of whiskey in my shop." The bar owner was a little surprised. He didn't know how to charge. Su Yun had long heard that if a Chinese bought a pack of cigarettes that cost $70 in the US, the Chinese would give the seller $120 for the cigarettes. He had no idea that the other party meant that he should just give $50. Instead, he thought that the Chinese were stupid and returned the $20 to the Chinese. Then he gave the Chinese $30 in a proper manner. He thought that this was the correct way to do things. It seemed that the bar owner was the same. Primary school math was probably taught by an art teacher. "How much is a serving for each of you?" Based on the volume of whiskey you poured just now, it's about 25 milliliters per person. This bottle of bourbon is 750 milliliters, which means that you can pour 30 servings per bottle. Su Yun, you'll let it go like this, right? If you pay $1 per person, this bottle will be $30. The bar owner listened but still didn't understand in the end. However, he was too lazy to think too much about it. Whatever. If he was willing to pay 30 servings, then he would pay 30 servings. Because he felt that he had never drunk 30 servings per bottle. While Su Yun was teaching the American uncle the simplest addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, Bai Xiaoya had already finished her entire glass of whiskey. "You don't have to drink like this even if you're worried." Su Yun quickly stopped Bai Xiaoya from snatching the bottle from him. "I'll accompany you. Let's drink slowly. There's only one bottle. No one can drink more than that." "Su Yun, are you really my brother? Why are you so stingy? 1 bottle? Who can drink that much? Forget it, forget it. I don't want you as my brother." Bai Xiaoya even tried to provoke him. "If you want to be my brother, then be more generous." Su Yun smiled bitterly. He also wanted to be generous. However, that required capital. If he had nothing to do now, and Bai Xiaoya said she wanted to drink, he would definitely take her to the bar on the top floor of Star Kai and drink to their heart's content. First, he didn't have to worry about suddenly having something to do. Second, he didn't have to worry about not having enough money to spend. But now he had to at least save enough money for the plane ticket home. He couldn't possibly ask Celine for money to buy a plane ticket after returning to Canada, right? As a man, he really couldn't open his mouth to ask for money. "Okay, I'll fill you up, okay?" Su Yun had no choice but to pour more whiskey for Bai Xiaoya. He had to keep an eye on her now. He couldn't let her drink without restraint. However, in the blink of an eye, 3 to 5 bottles of whiskey were finished. Su Yun couldn't hold it in anymore. He was annoyed. No matter who it was, if they knew that their father threw them to someone else after giving birth to them, and went to have fun, no one would feel comfortable. Su Yun endured it earlier because he felt that he was a man. Bai Xiaoya had already suffered a blow from this incident, and was very weak. He didn't want to show anything. However, after a few glasses of whiskey, Soo-yun's psychological defense collapsed. He was also annoyed and uncomfortable. Who could he talk to? Other than his sister, Bai Xiaoya, he had no one to talk to. Who could he talk to about this kind of thing? Who wouldn't laugh at him? It was fine to talk to Bai Xiaoya. After all, Soo-yun's father was also Bai Xiaoya's father. The two of them were truly in the same boat. Fortunately, they were both experts. Although alcohol affected them, it wasn't to the extent that they couldn't control themselves like ordinary people. Even the bar owner, who was a good drinker, was impressed by the two's alcohol tolerance. By noon, there were already 7 empty bottles beside the two of them. Soo-yun had also enlightened Bai Xiaoya. Now, it was Bai Xiaoya's turn to enlighten Soo-yun. Brother, it's better that you haven't seen him since you were young. Out of sight, out of mind. I feel that this is quite good. It's better not to have such a father. Come, let's drink again. That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.